Mary, please start.
Okay, we need to show the table then. Yeah. If we really wanna do this table thing and you guys don't want the wide, I have to show the table.
I'm happy with no wide.
Yeah.
I'd like most of this stuff, if possible, to be left on camera because we're building podcast. So, also for our reference. Now I'm saying this to camera, also for our reference. When we look back in future, to be like, Danya kumbula la sa dizinyana. Sisapatanisa. It's pretty dope. The behind the scenes, between the scenes, chatting to the audience aspects sometimes have the best juice. We've got the juice, we've got the sauce.
Economic topics lana atinga.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics. They need women.
Do they all need women?
No, is that what you were saying?
No.
They need?
But thing is safe space.
But
thing is safe space. Ngoba nje le ayikho nje safe space.
Is there anything that's big on the news? Dada Moriro.
Dada Moriro.
The mayor of Johannesburg. So
that's isn't that this like the 10th mayor or something?
Something like that.
In
substitution.
As Kulmango Floyd, such so Kulmango Floyd.
You put notes.
As Kulmango Floyd 1, as Kulmango All Blacks in Springboks 2, as Kwazang Kulmagahle go TDP, Skume Sam.
Australia, the Springboks was in New Zealand.
No, but the Springboks playing Australia, New Zealand playing Argentina. But we couldn't chat about Zonke lezo zinto lezo.
Let me greet everyone. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Dope Conversations with Penuel the Black Pen and his guest. Or co-host. Yeah, what up? Shout out to Penson Mlotshwa and The Journey. Please go check it out. It's going to be in the description.
Gang.
Click subscribe.
Do all those good
specifically things. If you don't have anything better to do with your time. You can go and check out The Journey. But if you've got a busy schedule like some of us, don't worry about it.
We ask you to remember akokayo monthly. Afaga imali hard earned into the journey. Into the journey. They could be taking that money to go dope.
You want to say something, Tebs? Oh.
How real man now, Tebs? Abantu afaga imali yabo.
Say the ladies that will be joining us, I think hopefully in like an hour or less than an hour.
Yeah.
One of them was here last week and Tebs said it wasn't a safe space. Tebs, I don't know if you want to address that at all or not.
Tebs a chat.
Sorry, just for continuity. Do you feel safe now to speak about, because we were speaking about, what was the topic? Mishali and Leroy and the domestic violence accusations.
Yeah,
and you said you can't give your opinion because you feel unsafe.
You said you didn't feel safe. This was not a safe space.
I think if we start that,
alienated.
If we start that, so I think let's move to the other topics. You won't proceed.
You have a lot to say.
Yeah.
No, we don't have to discuss it. Just for you to say your piece.
No, I don't. My piece is simple. Do we even know if that video is real? Like, what if the bruises are makeup?
Oh, the open letter.
Yeah. What if they're makeup?
So you're skeptical about Mishali's accusations?
I'm just saying we don't have to believe her because she's a woman. We can discuss it. The issue is that people don't want us to discuss some of these videos. They want to just to say it's a woman, let's stop. Just because it's a woman, let's discuss. No, but what if they're in fake?
So you felt unsafe to raise those questions?
Yeah, it's very unsafe generally with women to speak about issues that's pertaining to women.
And we should unpack rather than just believing.
Yeah.
As I said to the kitchen when Luna spoke about a specific person with authority, and it's like, hey, Ban Bunny did this. And I was like, we weren't there. Yeah. In the kitchen, is a Ban Bunny woman Peter. Doesn't do that. Hey.
Though we need to be understanding as to why society has come to that point.
Yeah, but we don't have any proof. We don't have, because we just have whatever information is based on Twitter.
No, I'm just saying, let's also, in discussing this thing, understand why women have gotten to this point.
No, that's fine.
Don't discuss. We just wanted to hear his thoughts. Guys, we've got Tebogo Keebine in the back. And hopefully, if we get a chance, Sizwe Dube is also going to add a bit. Last week, he didn't really want to chat. But this week, hopefully, Uzobeka wantunyana. Thanks, homie.
He's a punk.
Penson, if you can, very briefly go through the things that were bugging you last week. Floyd Chibambu leaves EFF to join MK. Maybe you wanted to say something about the All Blacks. Maybe you wanted to say something about or add something to Tyrese Gibson beating Israel Adesanya.
No. So I just wanted to touch. We have to create pockets where we can actually be safe and vulnerable, and it goes into one of the talking points that you're speaking about. We will say things, but we always now need to nuance it or put little disclaimers constantly to protect our personal opinions and views so that we don't hurt sisters. And I think sometimes in certain spaces that's rubbish. We need to be able to say how we feel, and sisters need to be able to say how they feel, and then we need to find a way that we can meet each other in the middle.
We'll chat about it because that's my first point.
Yeah, but we'll chat about it. I wanted to speak about
you don't only have to speak English. I just would like you to know.
Well, I'm well versed.
Crickets.
Alright, but we are saying I don't do crickets.
You can't make up people laughing in the back when there's no one.
Were you
no, he wasn't. Just carry on.
No, I found that funny.
Yeah. Thanks, brother, for being honest.
He's not on the mic. Please cancel that sound.
No, that's okay. Anyway, so Lebo had actually said something very powerful when she spoke about sports. Guti, it's this illusion of unifying people, you know. And I was like, I felt her in that sense, Guti. I also believe, Guti, at top level, it doesn't unify anything like real, you know, but there are pockets, you know, in a smaller space, you know, at club level, you know, so the guys do get together, have a beer after the game. It does unify. When we go watch schoolboys and the win, it does unify in those things. But in the sense of how politicians try and sell it, I agree with Lebo. I thought that there was absolute gold, and it lends itself to a conversation about DDP and Israel Adesanya. Excuse me. DDP's next fighter is Sean Strickland. I saw that you had responded to one of his tweets on X.
Come talk about South African fucking shit as if
they don't
America's
have enough
fucking
shit.
crazy.
Yeah. And he was wrong for a lot of things that he said, but one of the things that actually I felt was when Nuguti, okay, so I'll go to Africa just to fight in an arena full of white people, you know. So as much shit as he spoke, that to me really like and Ivar, because you know that the tickets are going to be like 2.5, 3,000 rand, 5,000 rand, whatever the case may be. So he's leaving America to fight in Africa just to be seen by white people, you know. And that also just goes to what Lebo was saying around Guti. There's this illusion that sports unifies, you know, and brings us together. Because again, in that space, it's just going to be a extremely privileged few from a financial point. And even if you can afford it as a black person, is MMA your sport? Is UFC your sport? So even the privileged blacks, because that sport doesn't speak to them, they won't go there.
But that's not the point, right? If Sean Strickland wants to be a fucking activist and a politician, he's free to go do that. Because America is one of the most racist countries on the planet. To come in now point fingers. No, listen to me.
Yeah.
To go point fingers at South Africa and the lack of transformation. This is not me defending anything. It's me saying, how dare he? Because if he's so passionate about transformation and activism, then he must quit fighting in America as well. In Harlem. And make sure that Otaki are involved. So otherwise, he's just grandstanding.
So again, if you follow Sean, you realize that he's very vocal about a lot of things. You know, so this is not the first time. I think it's because it's so close to home.
Sure.
You know, it tends to make us feel.
Muhammad Ali, where UFC?
Muhammad Ali, you know, but he said a lot of things that I don't agree with him. You know, many things where he spoke about Osisbetu and being abused. He spoke about Andrew Tate and some of the messaging that they. So he's been a very, very vocal person. So and in him being vocal, many of his things have been very much to the left or whatever you want to say, and not as informed as he should be. But within all the rubbish, every now and again, you do pick up a bit of gold.
Do you agree with him?
In terms of what?
The thing you extracted from Linda Desh.
Of course, 100%. He's going to be fighting in an arena full of white people.
So the best thing is for them to fight in America.
No. As I'm saying, Wuti, he can list 100 things. I will agree with just this part, and I'll put a full stop there. So I'm not saying, Wuti, and as a result, he must go fight in Las Vegas.
Do you understand?
I disagree with that.
Do you understand? When Ndlozi don't want to celebrate the Springboks?
Yeah, of course. It's part of the reason why I don't support the Springboks.
How?
I don't support the Springboks. It's not a secret.
What's part of the reason you don't support the Springboks?
The racist system.
You don't think it's transformed?
No. So there'll always be transformation. There'll always be transformation. Therefore, I like the Springboks in 2024 way more than I like the Springboks in 2014.
Sure.
Way more than I like the Springboks in 2004. So there has definitely been a transformation, and very much proud of what the guys have done in that space. However, if you take a peek behind the curtain, that's where a lot of the organization has not transformed. You know, obviously, if you're going to compare 2004 to 2024, we understand it, but is it transforming at a pace that would make us comfortable? I don't think so. Is it transforming as fast as I would like it at club level, at junior level, at primary school level? I don't think so.
Floyd Chibambu.
Young Rasha.
Floyd. No, Angita, I want to get through these so we can get to the juice of the day.
Yeah, because these are the ones that we missed on last week. Oh, Floyd, I love the fact that as much as I call bullshit on the democracy model, I love the fact that Floyd could move from one party as a founding member to another party, and there's no threats of violence or about to burning things down. I think that shows some sort of openness to change.
But that's never been the case. No. There's never been threats of anything when leaders jump ship to another.
Yeah, but I think Floyd has been, in our time, one of the biggest that I can remember, at least, that has moved, and has not started his own thing to almost, like, because whenever you leave and start your own thing, it always feels like, I know, Mina. But if you were to leave the ANC and then go join the IFP, or leave ANC and go join the DA, your direct competition, I don't think that's, I can't recall something as big as that. So I like that. I think obviously politics is a game, so it's literally Umchita that left from the Black Aces to go to the Sundowns, and then Ixasos to the Pirates. It's that bullshit. And you see all these zombies that are in political spaces that don't think, or that are members of that party or that party, hollering as if... Mkhulu is a big man. Is he not?
You were speaking about big people last week.
What did I say?
You don't want to send a message to Floyd?
Floyd, who is Floyd? Julius did well by losing weight. Great by losing weight.
Sure.
Yeah, but I think in terms of who finished all the KFC, I think Floyd, he just chowed all the skin. Anyway, but I also like the fact that there's that notion with the MK is a Zulu party, Zulu traditionalist or tribalist party. There is that, and now you're going to get a boy from Elimpopo coming in to potentially lead it.
Never.
Why never?
Please grab the mic, please. Okay, Utebs is going to share his views. You agree that you feel the MK is a Zulu party?
Yeah, there's that feeling that the MK is a Zulu party.
Do you agree that it's a Zulu party?
Like the IFP, yeah.
EUTM, yabantu olomisa.
Maxhosa. Angithi abantu bazositshengisa
Maxhosa the brand.
So again,
that wasn't even funny. But thank you for the laughter, ngiyabonga support.
So kulekelele ngoba phela siyabona ukuthi you struggling. So yes, umuntu uzokutshengisa ikhaladi nyana nebhuno nyana, but nje the feel of it.
TMK party yamaZulu. Ngamucabanga Andile Mncitama's there. Umzwanele Manyi, who I think Umxhosa is also there.
Yeah. If you think the
Judge Hlophe yangimazi uHlophe yini.
If you're to think
Umzulu.
But let's say we're guessing and we're thumb-sucking, the bulk of their members.
So it's not the leadership?
No, I'm looking at the entire party as a whole.
The bulk of the members?
So I'm looking at it as...
So if coloureds and black people vote for DA?
I'm not just... When are you looking at the top, which leaders? Ne?
Sure.
So there's the leaders, and then within the structure, it goes down, and then there's just members.
Sure.
So when I look at it holistically, I look at it and say, this is a Zulu party.
Wouldn't the ANC be a Zulu party if they have majority Zulu voters? Because that's your argument, right? I'm speaking about leadership.
I think when you say majority, you might be talking about 55%. Yeah, I'm just saying, when I think of MK, I think 90% Zulu. When I think of IFP, I think of 98% Zulu. When I think of UDM, I think of 85%.
You don't think Mpumalanga, Amaswati, Namandebele voted for
Amaswati, I have Fisku Amazulu.
How? I say shut down the podcast. Ayikho lento le.
Our office?
Sizongena enkingeni la.
Our office?
Sizongena enkingeni mos la.
Our office?
No, you wanted to say something. Sorry about Floyd and the Zulu party. Debza.
No, he won't lead the party.
Why not?
He could potentially lead the party.
Never.
Never?
I think the main man wants him there to bring some sort of structure.
He wants Limpopo members to come across.
No, don't forget, Pella. No one in the MK party has built a political party. None of them have built an actual party. They all come from systems, whether it was the ANC, UDM, whatever it was.
Sure.
So they've never built one. So out of everyone, they needed someone like Floyd to build it. So I think Umsholozi needs him for that, to build the party and structures. But I think the actual party itself will never allow him to be president. The party, the people. Because I would argue that 90% of MK voters, I think, are Zulu people, I'm assuming. Yeah, I think even more. And if you look at Amazulu, they are very... What is the word? What is the word?
Tribalistic.
Not tribalistic, there's another word. Patriotic. To Zulu culture, to Zuluness. I don't think they will allow a guy from another province that far to lead. They're fine with him structuring, putting some structures for the party, but to lead, I don't see it. The party won't.
Because by having him there, at least, let's say in the top 3, as Mbega, it brings a whole Limpopo vote.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't Limpopo.
You guys think
ANC.
Yes,
EFF.
No, Penson.
EFF?
No, I don't Limpopo by vote EFF.
Only middle class people are obsessed with Floyd leaving. Majority of the people that vote EFF don't even know about Floyd, dog. If Floyd
wait. You say the majority of people that vote EFF don't know about Floyd?
Wait. Political parties, for you to survive in politics, you need to be a Zuma. You need to be, or for people to vote for you. I'm not saying to survive, because survive now is linked to money.
Something else.
For people to vote for you, like popularity, popularity. You need to be a character, a Julius, a Jacob Zuma. Our citizens in SMF, they love that type of charismatic parties.
That's why Mangosuthu tell you.
That's why
they might be the only ones that could get a vote just off the person.
That's why Umusi will never be president of this country. He will never get 500,000 people to vote for him. It's primarily because the voter doesn't like that type of politician. And Floyd falls in that type of politician. So that's why even he mustn't even think of opening a political party. It will not work. Because of because of who he is and who the voter is. The voter doesn't recognize a Floyd type of character.
No, I agree in terms of not opening his own party. But sometimes when you look at certain structures, you say, okay, Umsholo's so corner somewhere. So Umsholo's lab, and now we've got this guy in order to be the CEO, let's say. So we've got the founder and the owner and this is the face. Now we've brought in this guy as the CEO. And I think having a person like Floyd does bring a lot of calmness to a lot of people. So I do believe that a lot of the EFF voters are now feeling a type of way with Floyd leaving. Because they can say, okay, Julius is that face, but we feel like when Julius is that face going to do things, Floyd is at home working.
EFF voters, people who vote for them. Remember, middle class loves EFF and Julius, but they don't vote for them. And middle class are the only people that are obsessed with this move, Yaga Floyd. If you go to the actual voter EFF, that move means absolutely nothing. The actual voter, the move Yaga Floyd,
the zombie.
No, I'm not calling them zombies. No, no, people have got a choice in freedom. They choose to vote for whoever they want. I'm saying the actual voter. That move means absolutely fuck all. It's only middle class. It's only middle class people who are obsessed with it, and majority of middle class, from what we've seen, they don't vote for the EFF.
I think any voter EFF who is not just blindly following EFF, but understands a conscious EFF voter. I think that the Floyd move has made them just, even if it's slightly, but has made them feel uneasy.
Hey, leave the mic. Before we go to the next topic, let's say EFF got 9% in the last elections, national at least. The loss of Floyd in these last elections, what percentage of votes do you think he influenced
I think he'll influence.
Wait, you answer as well?
I think a solid 2%.
2%.
Yeah.
Okay. Debza?
Yeah, I think Ratwan and Penson. I think
2%.
We're seeing this thing together. Yeah,
2%.
I also, Max is
so
2%.
if
but I think
Floyd
it's
wasn't in the EFF in the last elections, EFF would have gotten 7%.
would have gotten the same.
Hypothetically.
Sure.
Yeah, I think would have gotten the level.
Sizwe is not here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Next topic. I don't know if you still want to chat about rugby.
No.
All Blacks. What?
Yeah, I saw. I know we were trying to create evergreen. What? I saw Ureza,
The coach of the All Blacks.
of the mighty All Blacks.
Scott Robinson.
Yes, Scott Robinson. So the coaching staff, I saw them at gym this morning.
In Joburg.
In Johannesburg.
Damn.
In Sandton.
I've got such a nice picture with Richie Mounga and Cody Taylor.
So I was
in
like,
Sandton
hey.
City.
So I was showing them how to train, so that...
You're showing them what?
how to train. Because
Man, it was prior. Let's start with the official... No, before I start with the official, man, I just take this moment to thank you guys for the support we're getting. I know this is going to be our 4th episode. We're still experimenting. We're still trying things out. But in the spirit of trying things out, I think we're also trying to inspire young kids to know that you could have a show like the Parental show, but still try out something new. And it doesn't have to be perfect at all. We're appreciating the comments, the suggestions, the criticisms on sound, on set, on everything. It really, really means a lot. And I want to thank Tribal Media House for hosting us today and last week. And I want to thank Amped that have hosted us before. I'm not really sure where we're going to eventually settle as a home, but for now we're just doing that. But please continue commenting. Please continue criticizing. It really helps us become better. On to the official business of the day.
Sure.
Damn.
Yeah,
Did you watch The Breakfast Club? Do you watch The Breakfast Club?
I do watch The Breakfast Club.
Charlemagne the God. Okay,
Yeah.
Angela Yagasekwe. DJ Envy, Charlemagne the God, Angela, whoever, Angela.
Look at their
Whatever, Leasises.
Yeah. I actually came for topic number 1.
Did you watch the Tyrese episode?
I didn't watch the Tyrese episode. I saw the
clip. So, for context, for people that haven't seen, please go check out The Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Giving them a shout out because we're referencing them, not because of whatever else. Tyrese Gibson got divorced. I don't know if it was last year or this year, whenever, and he was broken. You can go on TikTok, type in Tyrese Gibson divorce, and you'll see all the clips of Tyrese breaking down, speaking about his ex-wife wanting $20,000 for a child, how she didn't love him, just a lot of pain from me out. And this time he came on The Breakfast Club, number 1, to promote a new album, Beautiful Pain, and then to promote, I think, a film, 1992 or whatever it's called. And there's a clip where Charlemagne asks him, you look like you're carrying a lot, because he's lost people that have passed on, family members, Paul Walker of the Fast and the Furious, obviously the divorce. Who else did he lose? John Singleton, super director, and other people. And he asked Tyrese, and Tyrese breaks down. And he starts crying, and Charlemagne is like, it's a tissue. He's like, fuck tissue.
the tissue.
Fuck the tissue. A man should be able to cry. Men cry. And then he goes in and he speaks about, for me at least, the points of when a woman's had a miscarriage, let's say she's had an abortion, when people have gotten divorced, don't just glaze over the man. Men have feelings too, and men hurt. So it's important for people to know that, like, check up on men, especially with the stats that we know of men taking their lives. So the first topic I had today was, and this is probably also carrying on from last week, it's a line I've read somewhere, and I'm obviously going to let Penson, Debza maybe, and Sizwe share their views. The line goes, women are not safe spaces for vulnerable men. So you want to be honest, open up to me. Why do guys not speak up? And it's like, it's because women are not safe spaces. Asin tembi with the most vulnerable aspects of ourselves. You're writing notes, ready to chat?
No, of course I'm ready to chat.
Go for it.
So I think before we get to the point where you're raising Guti, women are not safe spaces for vulnerable men, I think for me it's unpacking not just vulnerable men but men. And there's this bullshit notion, because we all grew up watching the same Van Damme, the same Sylvester Stallone, the same Arnold Schwarzenegger. We all grew up seeing that brand of man.
Sure.
So a lot of people in their fucking minds still have that brand of man, which that brand of man no longer exists in 2024. You know, so this whole concept of men must be strong, men must be, even if there's an earthquake, if the Titanic is going down, men must go down with the Titanic. So I think we need to re-look at what a man and a definition of masculinity is in 2024. You know, so that is a discussion on its own. That is an absolute discussion on its own, because what I'm trying to say is that society is letting us say, okay, open up LGBT, VV, abekho V.
Usuzoeda nje into zakho manje. Ile inzipho zakho ependile lezi zikuhlanyisa ngekhanda. Abantu abapendi inzipho bayizwa ngani?
Volovolo.
Abantu abapendi.
Man, it's obvious for
very ne.
You guys can't add weird things. Manje inzipho
variant.
This is why he wants a new masculinity definition.
Because at the end of the day, you know, for a lot of black South Africans, we grew up being raised by the matriarch, the woman being in charge.
Single mother.
Whether it's a single mother or single grandmother or auntie, or even for a lot of men or boys who grew up with the father there, it was a silent father. You know, so the silent,
and at school you're also raised by female teachers.
And at school you're raised by female teachers. Yeah. So this generation and the generation above us, even if there was a man in the house, for the most part, it was a silent father who maybe is sitting in the lounge watching a ball. So it's not like he is actively raising you, showing you man things. Let's say man things stereotypically is how to ride a bike. How to ride a bike is not something that you are taught by your father, or how to, I don't know, fucking hell, I don't know what men things are, how to fish. Those aren't things that you are essentially taught by the black father. So now you look at, based on the model that's out there, what type of man has been produced by the system? You know, so then again, it's the man that has been told time and time again, Uguti, yes, you need to express yourself. Yes, you need to be open. Yes, you need to show certain but it's also the man who's also confused with this whole dissonance of, but you still need to be a man. You know, so when is it that I'm vulnerable? And for how long can I be vulnerable? When is it that a man can cry? And for how long? Because you'll hear this bullshit things where sisters say, no, you can cry. For how long? For how long can I cry? Because I know, Guti, where you can cry for forever, and me and the rest of society need to be understanding. But for me, meaning expire. So as vulnerable as you are, you are vulnerable for the next 2 weeks. You know, lo sisi lo wase Ghana, look at the ghost lady.
Oh, Asbo.
Yeah. Asbo was saying that she has bad days. Ne? So if bed, you know,
where she's chosen bed.
Yeah, so she's playing on having bad days, but now she's in bed. So okay, Sharp, your girlfriend is having bad days. Ne? You as a guy, you meant to understand that. You having bad days, how long? She'll give you today, maybe tomorrow. From there, she starts losing respect. And females will always start losing respect for you when I'm more vulnerable. Cool again. Once also extended past that line that she has set in her mind, she starts losing respect. So now we can't chat. Men can't chat about the fact that maybe they are facing GBV. They can't. Because man, you are on show fast. We are lewa, so you can't be vulnerable. There's men who are struggling with their baby mamas. Who's to blame? You're not hearing guys that are saying, I'm a single father. You know, but not to a single mother, shame. Even if the dad is there pouring money into it, even though there's a proper support structure, shame, but puti who's not seeing his kids, puti who has been taken to courts and this and that, you know. So again, you're gonna say things like men must be vulnerable, but in this situation, when men cry out, no one gives a fuck. If the stat of people taking their lives and was 4 out of every 5 are women, it would be on every billboard ever. There would magazines, there would be campaigns on the daily. But the mere fact that it's 4 out of 5 and 4 of them are men, ain't nobody give a fuck. They really don't care. So this whole space of vulnerable men, women are not a safe space, shit.
I definitely agree, Uti. Women don't hold the space. They also don't have, I think, the when you attend the last time EQ, they don't have the EQ to be safe spaces for men. And I
the
don't
emotional intelligence, essentially.
Yeah, they don't have the emotional intelligence to be a safe space to hear a man unfiltered. Because, and I'm not going to hold them completely accountable for that. I think we live in a society that over time has built that kind of infrastructure in relationships, where as umjita you can't be, but you must be available for. Almost wholly and
you
completely.
You can't be emotional, but you must be available as emotional support.
Yes. So you must be the foundation and the trusses, and you must be you must be the pillars. But when you need that, I don't think we also have unpacked why the ramifications of men not having that kind of support does. But it's often judged, oh, he lashed out, oh, he lost it. Okay, but like when we trace why he's gotten to that point,
we're not allowed to. No one traces.
Yeah, we're not allowed to also.
Yeah, no one traces. No one wants to know why a guy lost his shit.
No.
Took his life, why he became violent. No one cares.
It's so crazy because we grew up, if you get spanked by, let's say, Shao Mawako, or Shao, let's say, an aunt, the first thing that your mom would ask is, when's it? Right? So it came from that space of understanding Guti, it's cause and effect.
Why did you catch her hiding?
Auntie, who we know loves you, this is not just an animal of a stranger, who we know at least has a logical brain, there's a reason why you got hit. In today's time, we're not allowed to ask anyone's reason. We just need to zone in on this person got hit. Oh my God, there's a victim, absolute victim because they got hit, but there's no more cause and effect. So in today's time, if you spank your child, you're an abuser. There's no reason to do that. It's impossible. There's no reason. So now we're raising kids where they can have, they can do bad without real consequences, because those consequences will make them a victim, you know. Because again, we knew you do something bad, there's actual consequences. Now all of a sudden, the whole world is, it's okay, do this, but then once the consequence ivela, you can't call me a hoe. No, I'm calling you a hoe because of your actions. You can't call me fat. I'm calling you fat because you finished all the KFC skit. There's it's that seesaw, but we can't talk about it.
It's very KFC skin.
Amajita can't be vulnerable, because in as Amajita, when you see your child cry, you ask what happened, what led up to you crying. We don't just focus on the cry. What led up to you getting broke? What led up to you being we understand it's cause and effect. So now when we're trying to unpack those things, we're getting shut down time and time and time again. What led for us to be co-parents? What led for us to separate? No one wants to speak about it because you're a deadbeat. How? What led ukuthi lo sisi edonswe ngempama? No, you can't speak about it. But look, I'm bleeding. She shot me 3 times. Look, she stabbed Ban. No,
it's probably because you did something.
Okay, sure. Then let's go and unpack that. So then that's fine.
But the end must be that it's your fault, man. Or it was you were born. She shot you because men manufactured guns.
Yeah, one.
Debs are 2 cents.
That's depressing.
It's depressing.
Let me read this line again. Women are not safe spaces for vulnerable men.
Sure. 2 things.
Number 1, you agree?
No, not it's hard to agree.
No, go on your 2 things. Sorry.
2 things. I think 1, email were never taught to become safe spaces for Majid.
Very important.
So
they were not trained.
They were not trained. They come from a system that said umjita into so now they're going through their own transformation. So I think we need to give them time, because they were groomed to be the way they are. You know, I'm a time away with these solid men who didn't cry. Funeral, you know, And that's what the parents saw. Like us as kids, that's what we saw. Like, oh, you know. And then it gets passed down to the girl. So that's what she sees every single day. You know, so blame because now they're going through a certain transformation of understanding what our guys say. It takes time. It might take even 20 years, 30 years. But it's unfortunate that we're living in it now as amachita, young tall. And then the other thing,
just before you go to a second point, it's so beautiful as a man with you giving them I don't use an excuse, but you're giving them a lifeline.
No, it's an accurate lifeline.
No, it's an accurate lifeline that unfortunately we don't get any lifelines back.
Sure, we'll speak about it.
It's sad.
No, you know, the thing is, within these conversations, we can counter each other. That's another thing. Women can say, you know, we can all just do a lot of back and forth. I'm just saying, maybe Nati, there needs to be some sort of understanding. And then on their end, there can be like, hey, son, okay, they've told us this is the reason because we saw it from our parents, but the hurt from the men is happening now. So it's like now they must have some sort of a radical change now.
So if you guys come on camera, it's going to shift the focus?
No,
it's just a question.
I know. These are auto lenses, so they focus on whatever is the face.
I'm just asking.
Okay.
I'm just thinking for future, it would be nice if we had cameras, even if I have Vela.
Yeah.
Where everyone gets seen, even if we're sitting with cameras, so that it feels.
That's what we wanted to do last week, no? Yeah.
No, but we'll make it work. I keep thinking of stuff in my head, but we'll make it work.
Yeah.
Because positioning is Omanjan, and I also like the roaming mic so that anyone who doesn't have a mic can't speak.
Sure.
So that we're forced to listen to.
Sure.
So manje le comment yakuba ayivelanga ke manje.
No, and then he's gonna decide, and if he doesn't give it to me, he carries on.
Hey,
no, when I told him.
So I think we're going through a transition, and it's gonna take a lot of time, like a serious lot of time.
But are we even starting that process of training?
We're not. We don't even want to have the conversations of it. Just last week, I couldn't have a conversation.
You felt unsafe.
Just the basic thing. I need you to wrong. Maybe there is another side.
You are
That's all I was saying. Very standard. Mara, it takes time. But the thing is, we need to have the conversations even more, even if it's uncomfortable, as long as it's almost disrespect. Sure. So we need to force the conversations, no matter how uncomfortable it is. Even with Osis Mandis, we have to. That's not a choice, in fact, because we all need each other, fortunately or unfortunately. And I think another conversation we're not having about this thing, a safe space, I think it was created by Amachita. Amachita are not a safe space for Amachita.
What makes you say that?
Amachita to la khawulang fethu.
Ukuthi my woman hit me.
Yeah, awuzoblaha umchita.
No whatever fethu. I'm depressed.
So now you mustn't make it seem like Amachita this. What is the word that we always say when we all behave the same?
Homogeneous.
Yeah, men are not a homogeneous group. I can tell you right now, maybe out of your 5-6 friends, maybe I'll take one from Ngakhalagui. So I'm saying not Amachita, there is a lesson amongst each other. So that when there's no safe space at home,
at least.
So the issue now that we're facing is that between men, I'm gonna safe space. You're like, damn it. Now you're not gonna safe space. So how are we going to work? So that's why even men try be tough with other men. Which makes no sense.
Yeah.
But we're trying to be tough because between the match there kuna dynamic so I think part of the conversation we must have is that between men there's no safe spaces.
Let me ask this question just generally because I have a point, but I'd like to ask it even if it's rhetorical. Are women / mothers safe spaces for young boys? If a young boy is seeing his bums, 10 years old, he's cut his knee, he's crying, he got bullied at school, is the woman a safe space? Is the mother a safe space for him?
But can I take a step back in answering you?
Sure.
So I hear what Tutebs are saying. Very men are not safe spaces, ne? But I feel like also among sisters, when they are out there, it's not also safe because your man cheated. But where I took this question is, the world out there is not safe. But when I come back home, at least I can go and walk out. Because yes, the same way as a machita, but yet my figure and she's
I'm sorry to disturb you. We've got a guest at the gate. I'm not sure if someone can open.
Yes, sir.
So
you don't mind missing Penson's point?
I just accommodate them, Jack.
Okay,
so
no problem.
Yeah.
I'm listening to you, Jack.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. So when I was just Penwelly.
It's Hebrew. Brew. It's Hebrew.
Is it brew?
Sure, brew.
Yeah, hey, brew. So again, I hear what Tebs was saying. Very much there, and when you go out there and be vulnerable, the same way that I believe that all when they go out there in their own spaces, and all that. But when you go back home
is meant to be a refuge.
Home is meant to be where you get to.
Your woman is meant to be your safe space.
The same way that when she goes to a man. So now going back to your question that you're asking, Uti, are little boys, are they able to be safe with their mothers? And I don't think that's the case.
Really?
I never.
Sizwe Avuma. You don't think young boys feel safe with their moms?
Man, you are 14. You've just been dumped by a girl. You
don't think she'd feel? Yeah.
No.
I think now that I'm older, I can agree with Penson because.
Or is it age dependent? Maybe because I said 10, you took it to 14.
You used the word little boy, so I'm assuming.
Sure, and I said got cut, and you decided to go to heartbreak. So maybe there's a distinction.
Generally, I think not, but it can also differ based on like a particular family sort of makeup and how they relate with one another.
You don't think mothers are safe spaces for young boys?
Now that I'm grown up, I can reflect back and realize that for myself it wasn't.
And not just yourself, but not because I look at it like, hey, lady, I'm hurt, I failed. I get a wound.
Yes. So there's that nature, yoga dismissive, but I can also trace that back to her having been raised in a space like that.
Tebs, you agree?
Perfect. You know, this conversation is tough, man, because we're making a lot of assumptions about Amachita, man.
No, so guys are sharing their personal experiences.
Sure.
Least.
Yeah, I think, no, Neole Dilam, I safe space.
Currently.
Yeah, currently.
Said no.
Yeah,
sure. That's why we confirm.
Yeah, make it now. Oh, maybe I didn't get the point. Sorry.
Kule. My question was, do you think mothers are safe spaces to young boys? Because we're asking, can women be safe spaces to men? We're assuming adults, right? Yeah. Speaking. So now we're taking it back because we're trying to fix the source.
I think for certain
mothers safe spaces for young boys.
I think for certain topics, I don't think mothers are safe space for boys. For certain topics, and I don't know, they will come up soon. Just as equally, now there's not a safe space for certain topics. So I think it's topic dependent.
So I'm gonna come in here because there's a reason I asked.
Sorry, no
problem. Yeah, she can join. I hope she'll make this a safe space for us, especially with these topics. Because Sims, are currently
she's coming in
and
now.
with the lady coming in, we'll see how the dynamic changes if it does.
Okay, let me go get a table. So
the tables are faked.
Yeah, some man's on the side.
Oh no problem.
So that she can.
Hi Lebo, how are you?
Hi, I'm okay.
How are you?
Thank you for coming through.
Send bonuses.
We speak about safe spaces for men. Yeah. Now we let a woman in and a lion at that. Who will be? No, don't worry about that. You're the only woman here. Let's see how safe you feel now. Damn.
I feel safe.
Ow.
I'm a daddy's girl. I feel safe around me.
Utupenzo is a daddy in your life?
No.
Oh.
Why are you this person?
Sorry, that's yours to hold.
Let me put on my jacket.
Debs is not here. Caesar, we spoke about it. Penson, we spoke. No. So I disagree with you guys, and I do think mothers are safe spaces for young boys. Generally, a little boy basically is born of a mother who's a nurturer, who feeds him, takes care of him, etc. But the dynamic that you guys raised is making me. You want to say something?
No, I was just saying with a lot of these things, it's almost like we have to like define, you know?
Define.
So that we can align. When you say little boy, I'm into you're looking at a certain bracket.
That's why I'm adding the second part. That from what you guys are saying, it almost seems like there's a distinction somewhere where it depends on, to what Debs was saying, it depends on what are you looking for. So for example, are women safe spaces for hungry men? Maybe it's like, oh no, if I'm hungry, I can go home and eat. You know what I mean?
Totally seeing quite.
Are women safe spaces for a guy who maybe lost his job, but for the first 2 days, like, oh no, she'll soothe me, whatever.
Day one, day
but now
two.
we're speaking generically, and when you start coming with I failed at school, there's a girl that broke my heart, maybe then the dynamics start changing. And maybe it's in those points that we start trying to figure out where's the difference and the distinction, number one. And then number two, how do we equip mothers? How do we maybe equip fathers? And how do we train kids to also understand that, because with feminism and equality, we're raising young boys and young girls who are meant to see each other as equal, which becomes dangerous because some of us are a bit more traditional. And if something's happening, we tell the boys, go protect the girls. And some of them might be like, no, why?
She's my equal.
We're equal. They must also protect us, kind of situation.
Stand back, let the girls eat first.
Because of the history we come from and the dynamics of society that have been engineered for us, not by choice, you do find that women are not equipped. And the sad thing is, in their not being equipped to be, let's call it a social worker, a therapist, an objective listener, a whatever, we're in danger. And yeah, we can blame men because men are not safe with each other as well. But you're meant to go home to your woman who nurtures you, who's meant to be your mother.
I don't think for the most part,
when you're vulnerable.
I don't think I think also for the most part, even our mothers, they struggle to assist us emotionally when we're broken.
Do men know what they need as well?
So again, give me when I'm crying because I'm 15 and I just broke up with my girlfriend. That's more of an emotional thing.
Sure.
So when you go to a father, I need to talk about a good mother, good father, just like in how we understand it. A good mother be like, you're schooling your food. That's how we grew up. Whereas Itami will be like, if it's hard boys, type of thing. Again, I look at those dynamics.
You think a standard good mom would be like, focus on schoolwork?
Oh, the good mothers will say, you're schooling your food.
Not with, I'm so sorry she broke your heart.
Una 14, 15?
Yes.
What's
What Daniel said.
Sorry.
She'd console you. She'd comfort you.
No, the thing is, you gave a disclaimer. You said the standard.
Yes,
parent.
my mother was a good parent. So I'm not saying Wuti now she must be a trained psychologist. I don't
think a good father would be like, Antwana Muzoba strong, but he was
yes, yeah. And you console. You already wouldn't do that. And I'm not just
talking. A good mother.
Yes. I'm not just talking. I'm talking from my work. Unless
no, you guys have the same disclaimer of a good parent. If you said
I had a good mother. So
if you said
I don't think my mother was.
No, it's not about your mother.
Yes.
So you didn't say in my personal experience. You didn't say from what I've seen. You said our understanding of a good parent.
But you literally said Abandozo rewind. Ugutu Penson Sizwe were talking about their personal experience.
Because the disclaimers you gave at the time were personal.
I went back to 14, 15.
Yes, but now you're making it about you. Anyways, it doesn't matter. In your personal experience, it's fine. It's fine.
So again, it's not just me, my friends.
Sure. In your personal experience.
In my personal experience, the same that Sizwe said. You go home, ufaili test, uphlung.
Yeah.
Our mothers, in my opinion, were good women and are good women, and they'd say, "Yeah, it's vela fundi."
Sorry, please pause it. You know what I think what might help, because this topic is really that important. Maybe when we speak in whatever spaces, whether it's 2 people, 3 people, 20 people, I think we're all gonna have to speak personally. Because I think every time we try to speak from a generic, I think it falls apart. It's that homogenous thing.
It does.
Sorry, sir. Please carry on.
It really does fall
Please
apart.
Carry on.
Because then I start speaking on other people.
And
because I know in my middle class setting, school in Newcastle High.
Sure.
When we speak about boys not being safe for other boys, if someone took your girlfriend or you broke up, sasiglaha.
Sure.
So boys weren't safe there. But I also knew those guys can't go home and speak to their moms that they broke up with the girl.
Sure.
Because the mom would be like,
we are chola.
We are chola.
What the fuck?
When we are schooling, you're chola. And this is my lived experience. So whenever there was some sort of failure, some emotional breakthrough, you didn't make the team, you didn't make this, I'm going to talk about our gym.
Have you ever spoken to your father about any of your issues? Specifically you, considering your father was...
Yeah, no. So
a solar eclipse.
Yeah, so my relationship with Mlotshwa was incredibly hard.
Okay, any other father figure, just for the context of this conversation?
I think I only started feeling safe to speaking to fathers at the tail end of my high school.
In that example you used, do you remember, or do you have an idea of how they would have responded?
Yeah, because I remember like Baba Zaman.
Sure.
I remember when we were, Minano Zaman were leaving physics to go study business. And I remember this is us grade 11. And I remember how my mother responded and how Umamli Magazamani responded. And they were extremely toxic. And they were aggressive to a point where when we literally went to Baba Zamani, and he's like, let's have paper, and you need those transfer papers. And he signed for both of us. And Umaga Zaman was like, let's, and she wanted to tear it. And Baba Zaman, and he was holding him. He was like, I can go and say, look. And this is us in grade 11, end of our grade 11. And both our mothers are gunning at us like this.
This is why present fathers are important.
You know,
to have that defense.
And we had that defense. So even if you go look in my papers, if they still exist somewhere, you'd see his signature for me. You know, which was incredible at that time. And bearing in mind, our parents now my mom didn't speak to me for like a week. And even no Mamli didn't speak to us. So you're like, but it's fine.
Can I ask a question though?
Sure, you may.
Because I hear what you're saying and it is your experience. Can I assume, as somebody watching, that the women who were mothering you didn't have the right support from the men in their lives?
Before you answer, sorry, the topic we're on is women are not a
safe space
for vulnerable men.
Yeah.
Sure.
So 100%. You know, so in terms of my mother, she definitely did not have any support.
And wouldn't that change then the kind of woman she can be for you?
This is why we didn't need a woman in this space.
I would hope so.
Defend our women.
I would hope so. However, looking at my next door neighbor, where there was a father support, he got the same response from his mom.
But that doesn't mean that just because there was a man present that he was a healthy presence for the mother.
No,
she could have still been
I
wounded.
wouldn't know. I'm using my child lens in remembering. He was a present father. He was pouring into the family. We could speak to him at that stage. So I'm looking at it, not knowing the intricate things that are happening in the bedroom or in that private space. So I think at that time he was a supportive father and husband to his wife. And she still behaved this way. And I've been with Umaga Leto and Baba Leto who would still believe Bagamakanya also would still behave in a specific way, even though Itaima was there seemingly to me as the child at that time as a support structure.
Can you, now that you are who you are, you're a father and you understand the world differently, can you relook those relationships? Like, could you look at them with a different eye?
Yeah, of course.
What would they look like?
I would judge the ladies as women, and I judge the men. I judge the mothers as women, and I judge the fathers as men. And they failed in so many ways, but they were also extremely strong in so many ways. So if I take them and I put them against our generation, I'd be like, our sisters can't do this. They don't have the strength to do that. Then I'd say, but our sisters have the strength to do that and that. So it would be a different
I think she's trying to ask if your answer would be different, because you said you're looking at it from a child's lens.
Oh, no.
I think that's what she's asking.
Oh, sorry. My answer would be very much the same, because whenever I've seen my experiences of partners, what I deem partners, it's always like two different energies. You know, where you are high, he's low. Where he is high, you are low. So in those type of places, for that energy in that time, when she was gunning, he was able to be calm. And it's happened vice versa as well. So using my adult lens, what he did was perfect. How he moved at that time was perfect for that home and that energy, because there was a balance of energies.
From what you saw.
And what this 35-year-old man is assessing for how they were moving at age.
Don't answer. Sorry, I'd like to hear your opinion on the topic. Do you think women are safe spaces for vulnerable men? Please substantiate.
I think it's an incredibly complex conversation to have.
Sure.
Because we have to look at the black family. Then we look at the family in society.
Can I ask a favor? Can you please personalize it?
I will.
Okay.
But I'll personalize it after I give context, just so people understand that.
No problem.
It could be very divisive if we don't do that. So we have to look at the family, then the black family, and the environment that it's operating in, and all the forces that are present that break the family, right? So you find that as black people being the most marginalized group in South African society, apartheid, colonialism, all of that stuff, already the family is designed to be broken, right? So we could also ask the question, do black men and women know how to support each other? Does the system even facilitate for them to know how to do that?
Were you guys on the phone together earlier?
No, we were.
Debs are whispered outside before she jumped in.
You guys have like a WhatsApp group by
No, we didn't. But it's a question to ask, right? If you're looking at, for instance, men who were minors and their wives used to be cleaners in different people's homes in the suburbs, already that's a broken family. There's no way you can have cohesive leadership. There's no way you guys can really understand each other's parents. You're probably not even there for your children in the right way. So, we come from that legacy as black people, and I don't think anybody's really spoken to us about it and said, this was not okay. This is how we need to be doing things. So we're all kind of making it up.
Sure.
And I'd congratulate us as a community just for trying.
Yeah.
Right? Already we're doing well because we're
trying.
I think a lot of people are trying. We all have different capacity. Right? Some people don't know how to be parents, and the only thing they can do is send money. Is that okay? No. But that's all they know how to do. And it's just never going to change. So we have to congratulate each person for at least trying to show up at the best of their capacity, whatever that capacity could be, and however harmful that capacity could be.
Being absent,
which is, but still, like some people believe that. No. Some men believe that
I'm kidding. I'm so
their
sorry.
absence is healthier than their presence.
If you want your child to be a super athlete, of course you must be absent.
Stop it. But you. If
you want your kid to be Jay-Z, 50 Cent, we can keep going.
But you hear me. The point is that everybody shows up in their own capacity, and we can't judge it. It is what it is, right?
As long as they're trying.
Not even as long as they're trying. Your capacity in life, you show up at your own capacity. Okay. So whatever you're contributing anywhere you are, it's your capacity. You could do better, you could do worse, but you're showing up. So I think for me, that's where I base everything, firstly. And I would say from my own privileged perspective, and I say privilege because I grew up in a family of people who believed in family. So my whole life, I thought everybody has a mom and a dad. Present. And when I say present, I mean your dad is doing homework with you sometimes. Even though my dad used to go on business trips, when he's home. Like he'd fetch us from school, he'd spend the day with us, take us to our sports things, then he'd do homework with us,
and
listen, and then he'd even bath us. Osi would take a break.
Who's us?
Me and my sister. So
it was just two girls.
Yes, two girls. Okay. So he'd even wash us, like he'd bath us. Osi would take the day off.
Listening is important. So I just need to raise this again. Like, one of the things that we were raised in, our parents that don't listen to us because you're a child.
Yes.
So having parents, besides being present, helping with homework, also just listening.
Yes. I mean, look, I'm also sugarcoating it because he could have listened better, but I understood his capacity. As my dad, I was like, okay, this is a vendor man. He thinks he knows everything. There's a certain way he's going to listen. There's a certain way he won't. And I'm okay with it. I've also got, I'm a bit mature for my age. I've always been that way. No, but I have. I understand that. No, really, I've understood that my whole life. I've always looked at adults and thought, what the hell are you guys doing? Since I was a kid. So it's different. But I think my parents tried their best without excusing some of their nonsense behavior. And I appreciate it more because I know they didn't come from what I came from. They came from very toxic parenting, even though they had both parents in the home. So the fact that they could try and change that for their kids, for me, already made me appreciate them more. I appreciated them because they told me the stories.
Do you believe your mom was a safe space for your father?
I think she tried to be. I think my dad was not a safe space for himself. So he couldn't allow somebody else to be a safe space for him.
What does that mean?
I think
without speaking about your father.
It's fine. I just think that a lot of black men, especially those who want to change how their kids grow up because of how they grew up, they almost feel like they are responsible for everything and they're the ones who need to fix everything and they're the ones who need to achieve everything. They don't allow other people to help them. They don't even know how to allow people to help them, and then they isolate themselves and they push people away. And people can't force themselves. I can't force myself to help you. If you don't want me to help you,
you want to be a ghost? No, say goodbye to the peeps because we're not going to see your ugly face again. The camera's on you. No, because Ulelo's going to get you just now. Yeah,
Ngzobi ghost.
No, please say goodbye to the peeps. There's a camera for you there.
The people love Penson.
Yes, that's what Debs is, a safe space. I've got a question for Penson.
was the question?
Yeah, you can answer it as you're leaving. With everything Lebo said,
Yeah.
I apologize if I'm stating something you've said to me in confidence.
What is he about to say? What is he about to say?
You guys forgive each other.
I'm sorry, what's up, God? What is he about to say? Let me just check first. Let's take out the assembly from. Oh, sorry, what's up? Yeah.
You've said you're scared to be alone with your thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Lebo speaking about, I don't think my father was a safe space for himself.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if there's any link with those two things. And I'm specifically thinking to what she's saying, that men want to try and solve everything. So when guys break, because they can't speak to their woman, they maybe can't speak to their boys, they then escape to booze, women, what, to try and numb the issues. With you saying you're scared to be alone with your thoughts, you don't have to speak about it, but what that could potentially mean, or if it's aligned at all with what Lebo said.
It's 100% aligned with what she's saying, because again, it speaks to, you can't be vulnerable in front of Machita, you can't be vulnerable in front of OCC, you can't be vulnerable at home with your mom. Obviously it's different as I've gotten older, but there's no space where you can be safe. So you are stuck with these thoughts, and for a lot of us, we push them down. You push them down. You suppress them, but for how long? Because you're going to implode and explode. Some people, unfortunately, explode, and then hurt those around them, whether it's GBV or whether you hurt yourself with the bottle or you do drugs, and worst case, some people take a rope. So it's very much true, Guti, when you don't have an outlet to speak, and be vulnerable without judgment, without being punished for your truth, being punished for your, ushiwe in a race, that's already painful enough. That's worse. Umfazi wakho cheated on you, that's painful enough. But when you go into spaces, it makes it worse. So what happens is that you just suppress that and you keep quiet, and you saw the WhatsApps, or you saw her do this, or you found that, but because as painful as it is, should I go out there into the world and tell people, it's going to be magnified or whatever, banbani times 100, and the pain is just going to be too much. So let me just keep it to myself. And the thing is that a lot of people relate, because you do little testers in life. As a child, you'll say, Mama, look at this, and you'll get turned down. Baba, look at this, you get turned down. The little things, and you grow up with this, and you grow up with it, and you grow up with it, and you just learn. And then again, your own mind becomes toxic. Now you're going for a run, so you lost earphone, you lost music.
Sure. I'm thinking of something now. We're speaking about training women or girls from a young age to be safe for men, and maybe training men and boys to be safe for each other.
Yeah.
Should shout out to Tulani Dambuza, because Tulani does this thing of checking up on us, and he's not the only one. He's just the first one that came to mind. Maybe a step before that is self-love. That can you be a safe space for yourself? Because this is probably the reason why people take their lives, because you're now alone. You tried woman, she blasted you. You tried gents, you tried your mom. Now you're alone, and you're meant to be like, it's like, I don't know, let's get the fuck out of here. What do you mean? I mean, let's end it. Which means I'm not safe for myself. Which means I don't have maybe self-love or training. Because if you don't have self-love, and if you can't be safe for yourself, can you be safe for other people?
I think you can in different spaces. So it's such a challenge to teach a person who is almost broken or semi-broken. It's to have that self-love. You can give them whatever bit of love, okay, sure. But again, you must understand with a lot of this brokenness we have from our formative years. So that's why you see a lot
formative is the first 7.
It's the first 7, 8, your junior years. So that's why you have a lot of these black kids that have these different experiences or caricatures or characters when they go to school. I know I was on the or
what? I gotta defend my mama. What do you mean? Mama is because you're too lazy to make breakfast.
Let me just try and break down something quickly that a lot of people don't understand. You can grow up in the same house and have two completely different lived experiences.
Sure, because one is lazy
You know,
to make breakfast.
And when you
Sorry, I don't want to steal your point. Please
and when
continue.
you become vulnerable in that space, let's say you guys are kids, because they are treated differently to you in certain things, you will be broken. So mhlawumbe yena uphasile test and when ufailile or you didn't do as well. So now when you come through and you show your offering, you know,
your capacity,
it is then compared and then you are then broken. Where
that leads to a lot of damaged people, by the way.
So now when you tell your lived experience in the same household, sometimes when my sister says like, oh, man, that can't be true, but that's her experience and she grew up very different within the same house. So again, as a young child, you'll go through these experiences and then you'll get to school. Sometimes you've got an empty stomach or your blazer's torn or you don't have a blazer or you don't have the right shoes or and then you get to school and you have to pretend like everything's okay. You know, hi, Mrs. Banbani. Ha, ha, ha. It's the same thing where you went for holiday, you didn't go anywhere. But then when you go to school, you lie. Oh, we were in Durban. We were in Durban for holiday. Because again, you know, I need to pretend.
Lebo's laughing hard here with the lying about holidays.
I need to pretend to be something I'm not. So again, the reality is being pushed down.
Suppressed.
That pain is being pushed down. Best case, you know, meanwhile, all your peers went to these amazing places. You broken as a child because you're 8, you're 9. You know, but my PlayStation, when you're like, oh no, my mom just doesn't let me bring my PlayStation to school. You know,
say goodbye to the camera because you wanted to be a ghost. You're not meant to be. I've got one more question for you before Lelo gets here. But you can go ghost because that's what you wanted. Ghost protocol, Tom Cruise. Lebo, you're going to be here for 5 minutes. Once Lelo comes here,
the way you address
the exchange about
tracksuits today.
They on my fucking platform. Try be a gentleman, please. May you get to Lebo a glass of water.
Oh, I've got one.
Oh, she's already got. Oh, shout out to the real gentleman at the back. Tebza Sizwe, thank you. I was actually trying to make you a hero.
You want a phone?
Bastard.
Nah. Do I need
Penson, this is for you. Sure. You're gonna be a ghost, but we'll let you
doesn't want me here, but Penson does. Thank you, Penson.
Of course.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone else.
Yeah.
This is why I vlog. So I'm by myself. Without the haters. Breathing down my neck. I've got some topics here, but I want to go to this one.
Yeah.
And I know we haven't exhausted the first one we raised.
Sure.
We're still
it's so
literally...
It's such a deep topic.
But at least we're raising it. And, you know, we'll take feedback as it comes and we'll raise it in other platforms or at other times. The idea that men model a good woman on their single mother because you saw her sacrifice and bleed and break and stomach a lot of shit, and now when you look at a woman from a healthy household who believes in balance, you're like, when you can't even sacrifice fuck all for me. And we judge the woman we're meant to be with because we believe that the strong... Let me put it this way.
Emulate your mother.
Emulate your mom, but specifically for men that were raised by single mothers, this dynamic that a woman can't love you fully unless if she's sacrificing something. Which is why when women now are like, I've got a good career option in Cape Town, you're like, this chick doesn't love me. Because in your head, you're like, no, if a woman really loves me, she will lose the things that she sort of wants. And if that is a problem, and or just your general thoughts about that, because maybe you agree, maybe you're like, no, she must sacrifice.
No, I fully agree.
And maybe in that we must also add the word submit. That if she does not submit, then she's not a good woman. Let's in Bible, let's go to it.
Oh no, please not.
No, please tell me. I want to say something very brief on that.
Please not.
So I watched shout out to the Honest Bunch podcast in Niger. They bring on Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. And he speaks about the Bible and he says, according to him, so I don't remember the scriptures.
I like that, yeah.
He says a woman submits to her husband, to her husband. He says the Bible doesn't say women must submit to men.
Yeah, no, it doesn't say that.
You must submit to your husband. Number one.
Yeah. Not to talala ntangas nje.
Number two, which he doesn't say, but that's my takeaway. For the woman to submit to her husband, he must meet the criteria of a husband and the depth of it.
I love that.
Sorry. So yeah, submission and sacrifice as the criteria of a good woman, if you agree or disagree. And what that means.
I want to go to a psychologist I was watching. Shit, I forgot his name. Apologies. And he was saying something that I've thought my whole life, and maybe I struggle to articulate. But Uguti, men are ultimately seeking for the mother in their or for a mother in their partner, you know. And
the psychologist was just saying it generally, or it's an ideal.
So you're saying it generally, but it lends itself to speak about what is it that you are looking for yourself.
Sorry to disturb. The camera's going to be in you throughout. So you're going to be on screen throughout. So if you're scratching your nose,
yeah, I'm aware.
If you're busy staring at me,
I'm staring
lovingly
at Penson.
I just want you to know that it's going to be captured. No one needs to know that.
I agree with you.
Shout out and love to your mom, but no one needs to know that.
So again, even if you look at it, let's say in the Western marriage, whatever, you know, where the father hands over the daughter to this man, saying, Guti, now you will then take on the responsibilities that I have, you know, covered. Meaning, Guti, you are now her father, let's put it in quotations, you know. And in the same time, let's look at the African tradition where Usi Silona would come to the man's home, and the mother of that boy will then show Sisi what is done. Here's his favorite meal, this is what he likes, and will groom her to take over the responsibilities.
The Indians still do that very well.
The Indians still do that very well.
The mother-in-law teaches her the son's favorite recipes so that I can cook your mom. So
Tina, we grew up in many spaces where the husband calls the woman Ma or Magasbanbani, and the wife calls Baba or
Babaga boy
or Babaga, you know, again, just speaking to that. So I really believe in that you are seeking a mother. But now here's the thing, what is our idea of a mother? It is what we saw, you know, our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunts. We saw women who were incredibly strong. You know, sometimes they were too strong because they didn't have any support structure. But that's what we saw. We saw women that were super, you know, beyond our understanding. They could stretch 1 rand to feed 100 people, you know. So if
superwoman.
So if that's your model of a woman, why would you want anything less? The same way with a lot of sisters that grew up in I'll call it a healthy home with a strong father. Then you ask the question, why would they seek anything less than that? You know, so they also want that or above, the same way that Tina, we want that or more. And if
that's the positive side, what about the negative side?
Is that the positive side?
No, the positive being he's speaking about a good mom, a good dad.
I don't.
So the negative, I'm speaking about a mother who was absent, who was toxic.
But I don't think that's the good side that he's talking about from my female perspective.
Sure. No, you can share.
Having a very
No, you can share. You can share.
Mansplained.
No, please, you'll share. I just wanted him to finish off by also mentioning, if you're in a household with no father, if you're in a household with a mom or whatever, because he speaks about seeking that or better. Would you then argue that this is why maybe people end up in toxic relationships because this is all they know? Or do they?
Yeah, look, so again, I think a lot of the stuff and how we move is very subconscious or unconscious, you know. So again, we are beings chasing dopamine hits, you know, or we're chasing some sort of oxytocin. So now all of a sudden you'll get it where you get it. So if it means that you'll get it a little bit from Usbongi, a little bit from Upales, a little bit from Nomfun, a little bit, then you become that player, you know, because you know, Gutsi, it's a little drop that you get from this person or from this person. So I think, again, that's why it creates the spaces where a lot of brothers and sisters out there are just jumping around from bed to bed, chasing those dopamine hits because they didn't get it from those absent moms or absent dads, you know. So again, it speaks to a very deeper level of, I don't know, unpacking this thing. Yeah. But on what you had initially said, I think we will romanticize so many things about our mothers and then try to find that in a partner. And I think a lot of sisters who grew up with what they would define as a strong man and as a strong father they will romanticize what they romanticize as well, and then also seek for that in a long-term one.
Lebo, the floor is yours.
Yo, you guys said a lot. Like, there's so much.
I didn't say anything.
You did. But at least I heard you say a lot.
I'm just I'm loud even in my silence. I'm like a lion when it walks in the jungle.
You're like a what? Anyway, let me not be foolish. Penson spoke about how some people have had mothers who know how to stretch 100 rand, for example, right? And that's a strong woman. Superwoman, you call it. To me, that's a woman in survival mode. I don't think that is necessarily something you can look at and say, this is the model of me understanding a healthy woman or even a present mother. You can't be present and in survival mode. So if you had a mother who had to stretch things and try too hard, she couldn't be present for you. She was there, but she was not present. You didn't have a present parent if that was the case. And maybe that's a conversation a lot of people won't want to have because they'll think we're saying then she was a bad mother. No, she could only show up in her capacity. That's why this capacity thing is so important. So I think a lot of people have only experienced fathers and mothers in survival mode, so they never had present parents. And you can also experience that with two parents who are raising you. They could both be in survival mode, raising you, so you actually don't have a lot of parenting that you're experiencing. So I think a lot of us are actually seeking presence in other people and the validation of presence in a person's life.
So 2 quick questions. The one is, who defines... Well, no. The first question is, do you agree with the psychologist ideal of we search for...
Our parents.
Our parents. Do you think that's what it is? Do you think it's what it should be? And then the second one being, in what you're saying about survival mode and presence, and who should define, let's say, what an ideal parent/partner should be?
So with the first one, I think we seek a person who will fix the flaws we found in our parents. I don't think we're looking for our parents. Okay. I think we actually look for the people who have the things our parents didn't have that we thought they should have had.
Should that be the ideal?
No, not at all. Because it's like you're trying to fix something that wasn't necessarily broken because you don't really know what it is. If your parent was in survival mode, you don't know who they are as a person. So what are you actually seeking? Do you get what I'm trying to say? And then I feel that the same as how everybody has a different personality, it's the same with parenting. I think parenting is such a unique thing. Like, you can't define what it should be for anybody. However, we can, I think, create a system where we say, but these are some of the criteria that will be present if this person was a healthy parent for a child.
I'm asking, right? Who defines healthy?
Society.
So for example, some men genuinely believe sending money is enough.
I understand, and that's the capacity conversation. So we can acknowledge, I hope, that in our society there's a lot of education that needs to happen, right? Because a lot of us are coming from different places based on our capacity, and that's the reason why some of us will think sending money is enough. Some will say, no, I have to be there fully. I have to read with them. I have to do homework with them. But even in that, like, I know I keep saying my dad was there, he did homework with us, but sometimes he wasn't present emotionally, right? And we felt it. And that's when we were like, oh, okay, maybe I don't like this man. That's when I saw a different side to him, when I was like, okay, sometimes you're here, but sometimes you're not here, but you're here, right? And that also put holes in my childhood, which is why I go to therapy. So it's not like, no, I'm just saying, it's not like just because I had both parents present who genuinely wanted to parent, but didn't always have the capacity to parent, doesn't mean that I'm perfect. Like, I also had to go to therapy and experience whatever because of that. So... And I think it's normal for parents not to be perfect. I don't think there can be such a thing.
Sure.
So all of us will have trauma because we're supposed to, because...
All of us will have trauma.
All of us will have it because naturally, no human being is supposed to be able to be a perfect parent.
Do you guys have
views? Friend or a perfect anything. You know, that's what I believe. You can't be a perfect anything. So it's normal.
Anything to add?
We're listening to sound.
Oh.
Yeah,
askis.
No.
Okay. I can just not put my arms on the table.
No, you'll be comfortable.
I will.
Sis, would you like to add something? Would you like to add something?
Yeah, I can.
Penson, please may you pass the mic back.
Okay. That's fine.
Won't damage you.
Hey, by the way, shout out to Jason at Road, man. The mics. It's the mics, Tebza.
Yeah, the mics.
Yeah, thank you for the mics. Okay, they're not really for this platform, so I joined you from the Parental show, but hey, you know. Sorry, sis.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah. It's very complex. I agree with Lebo in that people can often seek the things that were missing.
Are you speaking softly because you can hear yourself?
Yeah, the mic is close to my mouth.
Dope. Okay.
Technique.
Sound engineer.
So I do think that people seek things that were missing in their childhood from their partners. And I also do think that that can lead to a lot of friction because often we don't look at the whole picture because we don't give ourselves the time to learn the person so that you can understand that they also have things that are missing and that they also have to sort of figure themselves out as a person. So it's very difficult because relationships, especially when you start to dig in and get deeper, you know, they can get messy if umuntu doesn't almost seek like personal development as a person. Yeah, if they don't work on themselves, that can be very hard because also in working on yourself, I think it's very important to also just be sounding boards to almost check in like, okay, cool. What is this thing that you're working on now versus what I'm working on now? Where are we meeting each other? Where are we missing each other? Because a lot of things can also be assumed. It's like, okay, you're supposed to be doing this thing for me. And I like that reference you made from that podcast. Yeah. In that we make out of girlfriends wives and vice versa. And so we in that way put people on pedestals. And when they don't meet those expectations, we lose our minds. Why aren't you? Then they and that is valid, and vice versa, you know. But
what happens vice versa?
And vice versa.
Nothing happens vice versa. It was a rhetorical question.
Because
No.
Women want husband privileges. Or wife privileges. But they're not willing to.
Look, you know. And I also think that when we put things on a scale, I think that women don't look at men with enough nuance sometimes. Men tend to have like this gaze of this very horrible legacy of violence of it's like, okay, cool, I have that as a legacy, sharp, but cut me some slack a bit. I might want to be different, but it's very difficult for me to sort of navigate that thing if you're going to constantly look at me in that way.
Unexpressed expectations. Debs, I don't know if you want to say something. I've got a question for Lebo based on what she said. Let me ask you a question just to answer before I ask Lebo. Who do you think should be setting the template for a good husband, a good wife, a good parent, a good mom, a good dad?
For what? For the kid. Let's not speak society. For who specifically?
For the parents, it's the child. For the husband, wife, obviously it's for your partner. Because we speak now about lack, and we speak about trauma, and we speak about expectation, we speak survival mode, and we speak capacity, and which assumes that there's clearly some perfect template. And
I just said
Oh.
Before people say I'm going over you, I just said that's all I said.
She was clearing her throat. My question is just because, you know, one of the things that it was a little light bulb moment when we were speaking earlier, and even Sizwe now while he was answering, and I realized we keep going back to this thing of speaking generally, where it's actually meant to be personalized. Who do you think should be creating whether a perfect template or a range of templates that we can pick from?
Yeah, I think, the thing is when you grow, you think you're enlightened. That's another flop.
You thought you were enlightened when you're growing?
No, you think like, I know better. They should have done this. They could have, should have. Which is, I think once you have kids, I think you must bear responsibility as a parent until maybe a certain age. And I don't know what that age is. We can speak
responsibility for their livelihood.
Yeah, for everything.
Tangible.
Yeah, for everything.
No, by tangible, not emotional. You're speaking both.
Yeah, I think all of it, man. Until to a certain age, I can't think of the age for now.
Okay.
But until a certain age, how the kid behaves emotionally, are they a bully? Are they not a bully? Because ultimately, you made the choice to have the kid. Ultimately, you made the choice. So I think at a certain stage, you can't be blaming schools and society and church. It's your kid. You choose to give them the phone is parenting them, but you made the choice, So I think it has to be the kid. But I think after a certain age, the parents, we need to forget about the parents. The kid now must make their own choices.
Yeah, who's going to set the template that the child must look to?
This
templates,
thing is going back to Msizi. Do you want to be... I think if human beings were consuming content, that's the thing that pisses me off about human beings. People are not consuming content that makes them self-actualize and just try be better human beings for themselves and for society. They want to be boxed in a certain way of thinking. So already this thing is tough because most people don't want to improve themselves. But if people were constantly wanting to improve themselves, after a certain stage, we forget about the parents. We look at you, we're like, in fact, you are 30. We hear you're blaming parents. It's done. What can you do for you now? There's YouTube now. There is Twitter, there is Parental, there's Lebo, there's Penson, there's people that you can consume for you to want to be better. But I think there's something about people and not wanting to be better. So this conversation becomes hard because people don't want to fix things. They know they're broken, but they'll stay in the mess.
Why would you say they don't want to fix things?
Because, why would I say? They don't want to fix things. Because maybe they don't even know they have a problem.
Yeah,
but this goes to my question.
Because if you don't know your problem, it's not like you don't want to. Because last time I was talking about a very sensitive topic about people who are excessively overweight, and it's not what they don't want
morbidly obese, is the term, the medical term.
With this dudla, which is not morbidly obese, it's just a fat person.
It's dudla. It's that.
That's what she said.
It's dudla. So I'm saying I know a lot of people about dudla, and they actually just don't know. They'll say to you, I'd like to lose weight. They abazi the next steps in the sense of you might know the theory of something, but the practical side of it escapes you.
Sure, that's the process. But at least that BMI, we've got something called BMI.
Yeah.
So that's the question I was trying to ask with Debs. Debs wants to say something. Sorry.
And he
didn't really give me an answer. I wanted to say, look, we do have the church, the Bible, the Quran. We do have culture. No, I'm trying to explain the perfect. There's a template. And maybe for some people that works, maybe for others it doesn't. And my question was just, who's meant to create that? Because now we speak about traumas and broken. If we're all going to agree that there's traumas and broken, clearly there's like an ideal. And the question becomes, who's meant to set it? Is it meant to be celebrities? Is it meant to be the government, the constitution? Is it Prophet Muhammad? Kind of situation. You'll say your piece. I'm going to, as you answer, I want to, after that, to hand over to Lebo. This concept of being attracted to projects for some people where...
Why are you asking me?
I'd like to hear your opinion. Are you attracted to projects?
Hey, I can say...
Yo. Bob the Builder.
Can you fix it?
So there are people that believe they're enlightened. They've done the self-work. They've watched the YouTube videos. They have done the self-work. And now they go around meeting other people and they get attracted to people that they see have a lack. And they're like, no, man, I've got the thing that this person needs. But that almost becomes an addiction to the point where when they meet someone who's complete, they can't be with them. Or if they're with someone who was so-called broken and they help them fix themselves, they're like, because, and look, this is not something they're consciously aware of, but it comes through in the complaints of, I did everything for this guy, or what, or this guy's got issues, like, but you realize there's a track record of constantly being attracted to people that you feel you're the savior. You feel you're the person that's coming to fix their lives. Debs, say your piece and then Lebo.
I think those who are enlightened should be the ones that are raising the hand to go help the people who are not enlightened. So, the last stage of Alcoholics Anonymous, which is the hardest stage, is go help another alcoholic. That is the hardest one, because you would have skipped, I think it's stage 7. So
hey, man. No,
what do you mean, Jamang? Understand? Come
on. What are my steps?
No, we read stuff.
No, it's true.
Robert Ushap. No.
No, I'm asking Jim, we alcoholic and someone no so I can intervene and be like, no, don't take it easy.
I've helped another one.
You had another one?
Yeah, so I really think, the thing is, when we can speak about these things all we want, in fact, but I think those who think they have the answer, they should be going out there and say, look, I think I've got the answer. Let me help the next person, not the whole nation. The next person, whether it's my brother, it's my cousin, outing because we're gonna want to seek the Messiah, and the Messiah does not exist. We're gonna want someone to come and lead us. That person is not there. So I think those who are enlightened go out there and help that one person who's gonna help the next person, because we are complaining about this thing being an issue. Let's go to our family groups and say, look, man, I've seen this pattern and I think it's a problem. Like Unota was saying, he's realized that if he doesn't, we're going to flop up high in our family. And I think it's time that we come and we sit together every December, even if it's once a year, and we discuss all these things. So I think those who are enlightened have to raise their hand to go help. Because it's going back to what you're saying. You always speak about it. There's what Amangamla don't realizing without Lentoguti, they're not sharing. They're going to get impacted. Like I've a choice. The crime is going to increase because you guys are hogging this thing. So the ones who are rich, enter something so that we can or not be equal, but at least go balance in faith, So I think those who have and those who are enlightened, I think it's our responsibility to bring a change in society.
Teach one. Penson,
I think so.
It's actually Lebo's chance.
Yeah, no, just one quick comment. I have a fear when you say something like those who are enlightened, because that becomes incredibly subjective.
Very subjective.
And there's people.
But that's also why you said focus on one person.
Yeah, and we grew up where there was those uncles that thought they knew.
Of course.
And they would aggressively try and push a narrative. And with time, you realize, Guti, that size shoe didn't fit your foot. And it made, for you, did more damage. So I think, Guti, we must just be very sensitive, Guti, who we dub the enlightened versus those that are not. Sorry, that was just the only thing.
I mean, it also boils down to the principle of what's good for you might not be good for somebody else, right? But it's good for you. And I feel that this whole conversation really is about self. Like, you need to go through that journey, and if you want to stop at a certain point, then you're stopping there. But the other people are going to go further, and you can't go into the psyche of somebody who's not thinking like you or who isn't seeing the world like you. It's very difficult to do that, and I don't think we should be, because I think that's very dangerous. If they're there, they're meant to be. Let them operate in their own zone of genius at that level, and let them be that. Then anyone else who wants to go higher will go there. It's a choice you make.
Get the mic. Sorry.
But I think guys, sometimes we need to have, there are basics of how we think human beings should live.
Yes.
Just the basic.
Yes.
If we go by that, for me that's dangerous, because apparently it was justified. I want to live a certain way and it was okay. For them it was okay. Up until people are like, no, we don't think it's okay for human beings to live like this. And I think what we are speaking about is about just being a conscious human being who wants to bring change in society. And I think it then becomes our responsibility, those who are enlightened, to do something.
Well, you're talking about systems, and I'm talking about a human being as an individual. So
but then they themselves don't know, like the conscious.
1976 was a small group of youth who said, we don't want this to happen, we're going to fight it. A lot of black people were against those youth fighting for that thing.
Correct.
They decided that they don't like the situation, so they are fixing it, not for everybody, but for themselves. And that just happened to create change for everybody else. You can't force people, even when they're living through something gruesome, to see it as a bad thing if they're not ready to.
Do we even raise the hand to say,
a lot of those kids got in trouble with their parents for being part of that march. So that's what I'm saying. It's always inner work. It starts with the person. And I don't think we know right now from a science perspective or whatever, how that happens, that there'll be one person who'll experience life this way and see this and do this with it, and another person will do something different with it. But you genuinely cannot force a person to outsee what they see.
But laws are forcing us to live in a certain way.
That's fine.
Yes,
that's
but I'm saying I'm rebutting what you're saying about
the system. It's different talking about the individual. I'm talking about the individual. We live in a system that tries to equalize all of these things, but there's still people who thrive and there are people who don't. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. It starts with the inner. It's about you at the end of the day. My dad comes from a family of 9 kids, and some of them passed away, some of them made it, some of them did it, but the ones who made it really made it. Nobody can tell you why.
Survival of the fittest.
It's a self thing. It's a self thing at the end of the day.
No, it's a nature thing.
That's a debate. I can say Utebza disagrees and says no, it's nature.
Yeah.
Okay. How long have you been going for therapy? Would you recommend it? How do you suggest people pick therapists?
I'd like to say I've been going since I was 5 years old.
5 years old?
Yes, because, and that's another thing, when people look at you on the internet, they think they know you, but they know nothing about you. So I grew up scared. I was born scared. I think that's the best way I can articulate that. But I didn't speak for many years when I was a kid.
By born scared, you mean anxiety or something else?
I think so, but
okay.
I didn't speak until I was 6 years old. So my parents used to take me to speech therapists because they thought something was wrong with me.
Oh, that's why you talk a lot now. Yeah, catch up.
I'm making but I didn't speak, but I would observe people as a kid, and I was afraid of people. And I only learned how to not be afraid of people, I think, after the age of like 10 or 11. So I was super scared, didn't want to talk. Even when I started speaking, I didn't speak much. And I would really be scared. I'd cling on to my parents. I didn't want to be around other people. I didn't really play with other children. That wasn't me. And in going through different kinds of therapists, because when you're a kid, it's different to when you're like a teenager, adult. I just find that you need to have people who don't have a judgmental view of the world, that they understand that everybody's different and that your story is going to make you who you are. And they can help you unpack that story so you can understand yourself.
You were forced to start that therapy life.
I was forced because...
But now you realize it adds value.
Absolutely. Like as a kid, I remember vividly, I remember at 6 years old thinking that I was dumber than other kids because I didn't want to speak and know how to speak the way they did. And I can imagine if I didn't go to therapy, what kind of adult I would have been with that kind of thoughts inside of me thinking I'm stupid. Do you get what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't have that support when they're little, then they become adults who can't fully self-actualize because that terrible narrative they had of themselves sticks with them and they grow into it instead of going out of it. I got the opportunity to grow out of it.
So last week you got triggered by something I said. I feel like you lashed out a bit, but it's okay.
I didn't.
But the one thing you emphasize is I'm a good communicator.
Yes.
Do you think that's partly that validation of, bro, you can't tell me, I've put in the work?
Yes, I put in the work.
Sure.
Like me speaking the way I do is work. I have worked on myself for years, not like 10 years, my whole life. It feels like my whole life I've done this. So also when you grow up as a scared child, you learn empathy and you learn people very quickly. I know how to survive in certain different spaces because I think inherently I used to think every space was dangerous. So then you learn quickly, how do I fit in? How do I, so I can be safe.
Sure.
Right? And then the older I got, the more therapy I did, the more I realized that I create the safe space for myself. I can't depend on other people too, which means I don't have to kowtow to how they do things. I must set my own standard. And if it doesn't fit, then I find somewhere else to go, or they find somewhere else to go. But it took a long time. I'm 33 years old. It's taken me long to get there. Okay.
Oh, yeah, pull me age.
I'm not afraid of my age. I think I'm blessed to be this at this age. So I'm quite proud of it. And I'm proud of who I am at this age.
Dope.
So, yeah, man.
One more question before I take it to the floor. I had a lady, Bianca Costa, who came onto the Parental show, and she spoke about therapy for her own issues as well. And when I asked about race and gender, she said she intentionally didn't want a black woman. And it's something that I've heard other black women say on other platforms, that there are a lot of so-called elder, wise black women who believe that it is necessary for a black woman to go through some struggle or pain to be strong. And she was like, she didn't want that. And it was discrimination on her part. But she was like, I just have a feeling of how black people judge and assess things. And I didn't want that. And I just wanted to hear your thoughts on picking a therapist. And you know, I know you spoke about someone who's not judgmental and whatnot, but do you consider things like that? Like, hey, if it's a white person, there might be racial undertones or whatever.
Absolutely. I think the last time I was on your podcast, I said I don't go to black female therapists. I never will. It's not for me, because I find that they put too many cultural and religious virtues into the session. So if you say to them, but I'm not religious, I'm not going to be about African culture the way you are, then we don't have a meeting ground. So if I say my partner does this, she's going to see it from a patriarchal, I think, pseudo-African lens, and I don't see the world that way. So I would rather have somebody who sees the world the way I do. And I find that with both black men and women, that it's the same experience for me. I won't do that.
Are you attracted to black men?
How meant to?
There's a reason why I'm asking. Let me give the reason. The reason I'm asking is because if I'm chilling with the I've noted you, Kada. So we live in this society, right, that we live in, and it has a lot of stereotypes. And this
continue.
Hey, under pressure.
Good thing. I'm here. I'm alive.
I don't like black female therapists. I don't like black. That's because I'm only attracted to what?
Is it about attraction? Where does
you can answer. You'll
come into this?
You'll answer.
Okay.
The reason I'm asking is because, not to defend the therapist, because you're allowed to feel however you feel, but because of stereotypes, I can only imagine the reason they bring religion and culture and pseudo-African and patriarchal is because in whatever, this goes back to the templates question I was asking, Guti, I'm trying to be perfect, but perfect for what? Exactly. For a black man, for a white man, for a progressive man, because I'm going to give you advice. Then you'll commit Sizwe no tapes are out there. And they'll be like, hey, what crazy woman is this now? Kind of situation versus the other stereotypes that are another type of way. So I'd like to assume that the reason they give that advice is their lived experience, but also because probably in their head, even away from their textbooks, they understand when you're like, I don't understand why men are not understanding me. It's like, no, it's because Pella, you don't kneel. And you're like, kneel? Are you mad? It's like, but are you into black men? Because I'm giving you advice for how much you think was you. So that's where the question was coming from. If you're attracted to black, let me say black stereotypical men.
Well, let me.
James, are you okay? Do you need water?
Let me go around in that answer.
I'm sorry. Just ulelo. Oh snap.
Kate.
No, I'm not going to read out what's here, but she's had an incident. She was on her way. She may not make it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Please continue, ma'am.
I hope anyone who's watching this doesn't get the idea that I'm saying all black therapists are bad. I'm just saying they're not for me.
The ones that you've encountered?
No, they're not for... I don't...
The ones you've encountered?
I won't.
No, I'm just saying not all black, just the ones you've encountered.
No, all I'm saying is... Based on South Africa and how I've experienced it, I know a black therapist will not work for me. I know that.
Please continue.
Right. And I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying for me. Right. In the same way that the therapist I have now was recommended to me by my cousin. And she's got very typical South African ideals. She wants to be married. She has a kid. She's about that. And she's about African culture. She doesn't enjoy our therapist the same way I do. She feels like he's too radical. She wants to go to an older black woman because she feels like that person can relate to her. So we're different. I know I need a therapist who's open-minded, who has more of a Western perspective of things, because that's honestly how I navigate through the world is more of a Western kind of liberal
/white
way. So that it's not white. It's not white. I think black people have been liberal. It's just not a part of our culture we talk about a lot.
It's okay.
So
I'm just saying, for the average person who doesn't understand what that means,
I guess
we would explain it as more white.
Like, put it this way, I wouldn't be able to be with a therapist. Not that I've done this and I'm going to put myself in hot water by saying this, but I wouldn't. I don't judge relationships. I don't think there's one way romantic relationship should be. So if I went to my therapist and I said, I'm dating a married man, I wouldn't expect my therapist to judge me for that. And I'd expect them to give me tools to do it. And I'm saying that quite openly. Not that I would date a married man. I'm just saying that if I did.
This is a safe space. This is a safe space.
No. I'm just saying though.
This is why she doesn't like black therapists.
No.
What you guys are doing here?
Hypothetically, all I'm saying is when I say liberal, that's what I mean. When I say liberal, that's what I mean. Right?
Guys, please allow.
Someone said Mishali. I'm so sorry.
All I'm saying is that that's what I mean by liberal. I don't want a therapist who'll judge me. I want them to understand my life, how I move, what I need.
Yeah.
And to allow me to evolve in the process, not to force me with their own values.
And you found that generally black therapists are not about that life. I find that
generally black therapists are really rooted in their values. They believe in something and it must be that way.
Indian? Colored?
Yes, that's fine.
Oh, so between colored and white?
Yeah. But men, I prefer male therapists also over women. That's what I'm saying. It's about who you are. The therapist you choose is about you. It's about how you see the world, what you like, them understanding you. My therapist understands my lifestyle. He gets how I move. He gets...
You move like a white or colored man.
No.
I'm kidding.
No, but some people won't think it's a joke. But do I date black men?
You've been noted. She's finishing off her point.
Do I date
Are you well, sir? Can you calm down? No, sorry. Nompumelelo Ndlovu was meant to join us. She won't be joining us. So I just needed to check up on her and make sure she's okay. I apologize. I'm not trying to be rude.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah.
But I date black guys, obviously.
Oh, siyabonga.
What do you mean, siyabonga?
Amen. Hallelujah.
I date black men.
Hey, Mafethu, come on.
Black men are the most beautiful men in the world. But you can't just date someone for beauty alone. So other things need to be present.
Kader, the floor is yours.
I mean, I can relate with to Usisi.
You're also a white or colored man.
No. I got jalo, but an opposite.
You're liberal. You like married women.
Oh,
my apologies.
What
therapist do you have that tells you to paint your nails violet?
Good therapy I want.
Move. Magenta.
I studied psychology ever since.
Oh, so now, know.
Yeah. I'm fundile.
Amen.
So in my first year, you know, they're talking about this. I'm depressed, sad, and it was a white female. You know, the stereotypical white female, you know, who looked like she was in her early 30s. And I found this at Rhodes.
I might have seen the same therapist.
And I found myself
once and never again
for the first 20 minutes of the session having to explain my live experience to her, because it felt like a lot of it was one that she spoke was very either textbook or having seen life through a white female lens. So as I've gotten older and I've spoken to more chance, black men that grew up the same way that I grew up with, if they ever go to therapy and some of them are married, and the big clash that they'll have with their partners, whatever the case may be, is I want a black man, South African man, and I know so many South African men that has been a main thing to say they seek for black South African men to be their therapist, because they don't want to be sitting there explaining the lived experience of a black South African man, you know, in that space. So that's again my own experience. And I haven't been to a lot, but it's probably like 4 or 5. And we've bounced the same thing. I was like, hey,
keep the mic on yourself. So I had Upesha Aduma here.
Sure.
And he spoke about curating, picking the type of therapist that speaks to him. And the reason I'm putting up my hand is because both of you guys are raising a huge red flag, which again goes back to my question to Debs, because if you're choosing the therapist that sounds like by an understander, that's almost like going to yes men who are going to be enabling of whatever behavior I'm attracted to a married man. It's like, oh, you know, my therapist understands. They're liberal. They open, and you're like, hi. So I'm just raising this as we need to be cognizant. I'm not even saying anything. We need to be very careful of not just therapy, but even friends moving away from people who are criticizing and judging us, because we supposedly have a problem, right? And there are people saying, oh, this is what's wrong with your life. And we want to move closer to the person who's almost encouraging of the things that are causing you problems.
Okay, so let's unpack. So first and foremost, why am I going to therapy?
There you go.
You know, so that's a very important thing. I'm on my journey and I'm stuck in my journey. So if I'm a soccer player and I'm seeking counsel from a coach, for more time than not, I'll be seeking counsel from a soccer coach, because that person is more equipped to assist me on the journey that I've set for myself. Is it possible for me to find a tennis coach that could help me? 100% is possible, but the chances become slim. So again, I've already set myself as a traditionalist Black Zulu man. You know, so I'm not looking for someone to pull me away and to go into a world that I'm not even willing to play in. I'm looking for someone to assist me navigate this world and bring in solutions for me. So yes, there are people, and I'm not knocking on people that choose to go to a therapist that is of a different world and sees the world differently, because it's maybe they're trying to open their view on life. And if it works for them, great. You know, but for a lot of people, the first question is, why am I going to therapy? Where do I feel I'm stuck? If that's what you feel. But I think once you answer that question, it then becomes easier to find the person to assist you to navigate. I
just thought of a hack. Sorry, when it comes to the law, that if you want the law to be biased towards you, maybe just ask for a magistrate that speaks in your traditional
But that's
language.
exactly what happens, though. That's exactly what happens.
Because you've got a white female Afrikaner lady who's presiding, and you're like, I'd like to speak in Zulu, and I don't know, and because I'm thinking of certain cases where there was a traditional Zulu judge, and the way he navigated the case, I was just like,
I'm here for this.
I'm like, no, this guy is bringing
I'm here
in
for
this.
this. But it goes back. Before we go, it also goes the same in education. You know, the more you can relate and understand the teacher or the student, the easier the communication is. With easier communication, whatever problems may come in the classroom become easier to solve. That's why it's so important, in my belief, if I'm a Black Zulu man, whatever, the more teachers I see that I can relate with, the easier my journey with.
You'll probably pass.
A lot of kids that grew up in, let's say, rural KZN or rural Limpopo, they go to a space like, let's say, a Rhodes, which is just on its own, turns your world inside out, upside down. A lot of it is just trying to understand the person that's standing in front of you and how they deliver the context in which they're saying, and then you get lost in that nje.
Please pass the mic to Sis. Closing words as we shut down.
Oh, you're shutting down?
Yeah. I think it's been 2 hours. How long have we been going for? No, we wouldn't. In the interest of time. Look, we also have to respect the audience. So. Sure. They'll give us their views in future if they'd like us to go for like 5 hours and chop it up. But in the interest of some of our lives who have lives, I think we've been hitting for 2 hours. Sis?
I don't know.
You're not sure?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Sorry, sir. Any closing remarks? Look, we can close for like 20 minutes if it allows. Okay. Or anything you'd like to add, because that's the end of what I wanted to raise for today.
Therapy, right?
No. Any views on anything that was raised today?
Yeah, kunzima, sithwele kanzima emhlabeni.
As humans or as abantu besilisa?
I think as humans, and I'm gonna speak for myself and say as umchita. As a black guy, it's tough. Kunzima ukujola. Because damn man, like black women are hard. They're very hard on us. And I can say personally that I've hit many walls with black women, because it's like nizozama ukukhuluma, man, and
boy. You don't have the mic, shut up. Such horrible advice. You studied psychology.
Nizozama ukukhuluma, but it's very difficult because you also get to a place where they then become unavailable, and then you it's like that thing we brought up as the first topic, right? about women being safe spaces. And it's like you try and work on things yourself. And then that then becomes, what's the term? You're projecting. You know, you're told that you're projecting. Oh, uzenza ngono, oh, yang cha. But it's like, I'm here trying to lay myself bare so that we can get through things. Skulume, you know? But I'm also trying to figure out and just playing around with the idea of when it is the right time to express the truth.
The truth about yourself?
Just in J,
What is the
just to be truthful. Because
is this because relationships, most of them are the ones you know, start off on lies, pretense, like interview mode?
So maybe let me bring more context to it and say in situations where there is conflict, when is the best time to be honest? Maybe not in the moment, because I've often found that being honest is not met, or rather it's not welcomed in the heat of the moment. So you learn over time when things get to a boiling point, take a step back, come back, revisit, and maybe try and express that thing. But also, how many ways can I express, or rather be honest?
Some people also don't want you to step back during that moment.
Exactly.
We happy. Let me just tell we happy. Then they lock the door. They're like, "How pumila? We're gonna resolve this, or else someone is leaving with the coffee."
Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to say it's tough, you know, being a young black guy is trying to navigate this thing and have a relationship. Yeah.
So there's a couple of young women, let's say black, who are listening to you, and you're like, "Guys, please, can you, to assist you, or guys like you, what would you like them to do?"
To be honest, I think, and I must be honest about this myself, in that I've had to learn how to be patient. I've also had to learn to not judge people for not having a similar or the same perspective on things as I do. So I think that those women, please, iban nesnege, try to also just like, you know, and
just pull back a bit.
Yeah, pull back a bit and just absorb the situation and look at it with like a different sort of, you know, approach.
And don't assume malice from the guy. This is your person.
Yes.
You can't assume he's trying to destroy you.
No, I'm not trying to destroy you, but like, just don't be so quick to respond, but try and like, because I think there are certain things, or rather we want the perfect picture out of people. It takes time, because we are constantly changing as people. Sure. And learning. Yeah, those are my parting words.
Damn. Devza.
Yes, I saw Penson write, and I'm like, this thing of writing actually helps.
He's busy writing notes about us, or maybe he's writing about something else.
You tease up. My mistress is so well. What's a sharp?
Mistress.
Damn.
You know, I only knew 5 years ago that mistress, I thought mistress just meant like teacher. I didn't know that it's like a female version of a teacher. Like, I probably knew this 5 years ago. I'm sorry. I don't know. But anyway.
I'm really sorry to hear about your childhood. Did you grow up in Africa?
Yeah, Tembisa. Like, I really thought.
Damn, that's deep Africa.
2 things to what Penson is saying. I think Vele generally, Auti is looking for their mother in their girlfriend or their wife.
Do you think that's ideal as well?
Yeah, it's ideal, in fact, because which other example do you have? Forget the TV.
Because this is meant to be the woman that loves you unconditionally, gave birth to you, fed you.
Ndona, forget the TV. Like, what else do I know? All I know is Ndona, Sunday, kushaye 7 colors. Manje uyashada akunasinde 7 colors. So man, you looked how. Kanjan. Take away on a Sunday. This is the first time I see it. It doesn't make sense. So, and I think it's okay to want that, because it's your closest thing to what a woman is. Tangibly, she's here every day. That's if she's there, like what Lelo say, even if she's providing, she might not be there, but the closest reflection of what a woman is your mother. So I'm okay with niggas wanting their mother in their wives or their girlfriends. It makes a lot of sense.
Would you recommend that once you guys get serious, or as early as possible, exposing your partner to your mom with the hope that there's an influence?
You're one of that thing, fun, is very important. But the women of today, never. They will tell you like, you didn't marry your mother. If you want to be with your mother, go stay with your mother. That is very hard. Those are things that niggas are not even bringing up anymore.
Would you be willing to spend time with her father for the same thing?
He's useless, no.
How? Why is he useless but your mom
okay,
is not?
If he's useless, no. If you'll take rent, definitely. I think both sides, if you do have to spend time with the other side, I think it's important. So equally, Imedi want out, that's when I father them. Especially, I'm not speaking about extreme feminists because they want their own cack.
Is that what they want?
Extreme feminists.
It's called radical feminists.
Yeah, don't tell me about those nonsense.
Those what?
Nonsense. Radical feminists are nonsense.
What's nonsense about them?
Those people are toxic to humanity. What type of nonsense do you say? I don't need a man. Are you smoking crack? That's an extreme feminist. We need each other. We need to build each other. I don't need a man. It's diabolical crap, man. I must say, so I don't talk about those.
You feel safe today, boy.
Yeah, no.
You feel safe today.
No, those women minangwa feel. So we can hit if we have to with those ones. It's fine. So I think it's okay that
when you say we can hit.
Yeah. No, we can go further. Yeah, no. Today,
those that don't understand.
Hey, because they're gonna be like you said.
So we know.
No, I'm saying today I'm ready. If
we can engage.
No, we can engage. Or hit means we can engage. Yeah, no. Extreme feminists are very toxic. It's like what is the word they use for men?
Toxic masculinity.
Toxic masculinity. Misogynistic. We don't need those things. So I think we don't need extremes, Bafetu. Let them extreme is not working for either of us, Bafetu. Whether it's Mchita or Richeri, that thing doesn't work. I guess the extreme feminist, why it's hitting me more is because they get most of the exposure. Hey, buy a ring a lawan club, Bafetu, But anyway, so yeah, I believe that a man must seek his mother in media, vice versa. The other thing that we're speaking about, I just want to add this point. None of us are groomed for any of these things. None of us are groomed for adulthood. None of us are groomed to be in relationships. None of us are groomed to be in marriages. None of us. We're just winning this thing, in fact. I just hope those who get into those things, they just want to be better human beings and be progressive. But yeah, I can see the lion is like,
Is the lion rumbling?
The lion is like, yeah, so...
I don't want to Lebo to close yet. I've got a question for her. You haven't closed, right?
No, you haven't.
But
okay, no, it's okay. No, it's okay. It's okay.
No, the lion wants to.
Yeah, I've got a question for her. I'm happy for her to rebut anything you said, and then I've got a question for her before she closes.
This conversation we're having is necessary. However, I don't think we're peeling off the layers in the right way. And when I say the right way, I think it's not nuanced enough, the perspectives that we're having. Sure. So if we're going to say, let's say radical feminists are rubbish, then what of the extremely patriarchal man? Is he rubbish too?
I said that.
I'm asking.
It's okay, it's okay. She's just, it's rhetorical.
I'm just putting it out there, yeah. I'm just putting it out there. Should we even be speaking like that about anybody is the question here. Because that is still extremely divisive. And you might think that you have an appropriate perspective because you opposing the radicalists, but that also just makes you just as radical, right? So I think here what we need to understand is everything starts with self. Stop caring about other people. Be about you and connect with the people who are about the same thing. Because the world does have people who are different to you and you have to know how to coexist with them, I can date a guy who's patriarchal if he can accept me for who I am. I'm not anti-patriarchal. He just has to do it in a way that I understand, which could be very different to another person, and even this conversation about women who say they don't need men are crazy. That's not true. Studies are showing that technically men need women, but women don't need men to survive.
What studies are these now?
I will actually send you a few links.
No, I don't need the link
to the WhatsApp group. Right?
I don't need the link.
But
I want to say this. You'll carry on, Lebo.
Yeah.
Don't send the link. I just want to say this is part of the problem that Utebza was raising.
Yeah.
I'm calling it a problem based on what he said, that it seems like for certain agendas, there are people that are louder than others. So clearly this data that you received arrived where anyone else could run similar data to say the opposite.
Look,
data
is data. You, as a person, you can use it how you want to. Right?
That's a bikini.
But there are lots of there's a lot of data. There are lots of psychologists and anthropologists, etc., who've actually done studies now. And they feel like there's a pandemic of male loneliness because so many women don't want to be with men. And that's largely because of women and their ability to become economically emancipated more than they were able to before. So the more women make money, the less they feel like they have to tolerate men.
Calm down.
Exactly. The more women make money, the less they feel like they have to tolerate men's behavior in order to survive. Which means I'm dating you because I want to, not because I have to.
100%.
And that, for a lot of people in society, for men and women, the concept of a woman having choice is really radical and uncomfortable for a lot of people. So they think it's anti-men, but it's just pro-me. Like, oh, I can do this. I can work. I can provide for myself. Wow, I can choose a guy I like. This is great. I don't need a man. I want one. I don't need a husband. I want one. So I can choose the one I want. That's what people mean when they say, I don't need a man. So that I don't like a man. I don't have to have him. I choose.
I don't need him for my survival.
I don't need to survive. Yeah, I just need
I'd
him.
like him for my luxury.
I'd like him. Like, I'm single. I'm in my 30s. I don't need a man. But it's really nice when I have a guy who's supportive in my life, because he adds so much support that I can't give myself or that other people can't give me. Men do play a very different and unique role in your life. And the older I get, the more I appreciate it. But I only want it from men who are going to be healthy, positive sources in my life. Otherwise, you can go. I don't.
Thank you for the gaffer tape, by the way. Debs, I want to say. Please, Mike.
Askies.
Debs wants to rebut some more.
Askies. So
Penson, we've got you. Don't worry, Tony. Left time.
It's not a radical thing when we say we don't need men. It's not anti-men.
You said your study said
there are many studies. You can go on the internet and check. I've been reading many, but okay.
Yeah, that one. You said you guys you're not. You said something in the early stages of what you're speaking about now, that you don't need a man
for survival.
She said the studies have proven that men need women.
There's
but
a loneliness pandemic.
You guys, something about dating. You said you don't need to date. You said something about dating, but it was alluding to the fact that you have. I'm going to rewind us. You said, yeah. Yeah, you say something about dating, that it's choice. Don't I think I'm gonna remember now? I'll remember now.
But to add to that,
when we start chatting, it's gonna deviate, and I'm hoping that it clicks quickly.
Yeah.
But when we add to that, I think something else that was said was about how black women need to give black guys a break. And for me, that statement on its own is dangerous, because we're not acknowledging the environment in which black men and women are operating that makes black men and women the way that they are. Right? So if black women are shouting and whatever, and we say that's not feminine, let's say we call that not feminine, right? Then there has to be something in the environment that's probing that behavior. What is it? And men have to understand that no matter how tough their lives are, they still have a better experience than women. And that's a truth a lot of men don't want to take, because it makes them accountable for so many things that they don't want to be accountable for. It's better to be a victim than to say, actually, if I change some of my behaviors, this environment might change. I'm an outspoken woman who wants to be independent, blah, 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 blah. The best relationship I had with a black man, he was very patriarchal, Zulu guy, believes in being a provider.
The best relationship you had was with the Zulu guy.
Yes, relax.
I was just confirming.
No,
the best relationship we had was...
It was with the Zulu
Well,
guy.
Ayanda Ali Payne was also like, she's with the Zulu man now.
No, but like...
Who's doing the things.
No, it's not shocking.
No, you don't have the mic.
But wait, let me make my point.
Calm down.
My point that I'm making is he's very like...
Sorry, Ayanda Ali, I apologize. She's no longer married to...
Okay.
The pain is gone.
Yeah, but the point is, he was very...
Penson, you're unprofessional.
He was...
Hey, come on, stop it.
Oh my God.
Tebza, please, bro.
Yeah.
Control your
But
point.
he was very like, indoda, I'm a provider, a woman does this. That guy allowed me to thrive. The way he wanted to do things made so much sense to me that I let him lead me, right? It was never a question of can you, but he made it so safe for me that I could express I could be anything.
Yeah.
To the point where it just felt, I wanted to make him lunch boxes. I wanted to do things. He never asked me.
Oh, Sbong.
Abantu Bashar never asked me.
However, obviously,
No. Obviously, all relationships have their issues, but it was never an issue of gender dynamics. It was never a indoda mask, and it wasn't that. That's not why we had our issues. But literally, he put me in such a comfortable space that I was so safe. I could fully be in what people call now the feminine, even though I think they're limiting the feminine by making it what it is. But I could make him lunchboxes. I cooked. I did many things. I ran the household, and that's
Would
not
you get
something
back
I
with
would
him?
just do. Yes.
So this is for him to come back and do the right thing.
No, please no. But yeah, so all I'm saying is in the right environment with the right guy, he can make it so safe for you that you will be gentle and let him lead. But if the guy's not making that environment happen, you're gonna fight him because you don't feel safe.
The man must create the environment.
You're gonna question his moves. You're gonna question his decisions. You're gonna be like, I don't trust you. If you say go left, I'm gonna go right, and I'm gonna show you why it's right.
The man must create that environment.
The man has to create the safety. So if my man says, don't worry, do you, but I'm gonna take care of us, and then he says, let's go this way and we're gonna go that way, I'll go.
Debza, I know the engine took a while to warm up, but I hope we've sorted it out.
I think if I'm correct, you're saying that the more email ikubuga via status in society, like economically, the more they don't want to date men.
No. The more they don't feel the need to date men for survival.
Yeah, she was saying the more women, the more women are economically emancipated, and this is what we understand from history, where many women would, for economic reasons, get married, live on a man's what, take his surname. Today, women don't need those things. They can buy their own land, they can what. And because of that, I'd like to think the interpretation is, now I don't need, you can't be like...
You don't need a man for survival.
No.
For economic reasons. Now we can argue need versus want.
I think now what is changing, I think what's happening right now, those women that you're speaking about, they are all leaning towards a certain type of man.
No.
You guys are just not, no.
Allow him, sorry.
You guys are,
please share.
You guys are going for maybe the 2% of the guys that have money. And you guys are just all sharing those men. Lento guti, you guys go higher and we don't need men for survival. That's not truth. You guys just share one man, all 15 or 20 of you.
Wait.
Because the men...
Why is that the assumption that we go for a specific type of man?
You go for the nigga that has money. That's what we've seen in society.
No, why are you making that assumption?
No, I've seen it.
So from your worldview...
No, but studies say women are hypergamous.
Wait, Penson, wait, guys.
From his
wait. No. She's busy speaking. That's the thing. She's busy speaking and you're speaking over her.
I'm giving my temp when...
No, that's okay. I was gonna ask, please don't wrap up yet. You're free to respond to Lebo without wrapping up. Lebo, please finish your point and then Penson come in.
So from your limited worldview, women...
Damn!
Because we all have a limited worldview. No. It's not an insult. We all have limited worldviews, right?
But in yours specifically.
From his limited worldview, successful women only choose men for how financially successful they are.
That's a question. Please answer so Penson can speak.
It's a rhetorical question.
Oh, sorry.
Let's think about that logic. If I don't need a man to survive economically, why would the reason I choose him be for economics?
Hey, relax, Penson.
Let's talk.
It's okay.
So,
Lebo, you brought up studies. So bring up studies, women are hypergamous, so the date across and above.
Don't speak too fast, please. Please slow it down. And
So
don't
that's
talk
the
big
general
English.
term. So as much as women, and rightfully so,
Women
whatever
are
Hypergamous.
So
What
they
does that
date
mean?
across, they are socioeconomic in today's term,
Sure.
bracket and above.
Okay. So naturally, women want a man who's either their equal or superior.
Yes, socioeconomically. So again, Lebo was speaking about as much as she's a lion, when she met Mufasa, she became a lioness.
Yes.
Ne? So that what tends to happen when you find a person that you deem sissy, because it's not based on who is within your bracket or above. And now it also speaks to the economic side as well. As much as a sister is doing well financially, she's making 200K a month, let's just say, she still is attracted to a lion in the similar space or above. It is very, very difficult for sisters to be able to, if she's making 80K, to see the lion in a guy who is, no offense to anyone, but let's say working at a KFC. You know, so from an economic point, women are still seeking a certain, so when she says Uguti, she doesn't need him to survive, I agree. However, when it gets into the mating and dating market, that is still one of the pillars that she looks for.
I disagree with you, even though what you're saying is true for a small group. But remember,
Studies say it's most.
People are not which studies, because it's not most.
Okay,
I'll send them to you. We'll exchange studies.
When you look at the proportion of women who are successful financially versus women who aren't, there's still more women who aren't. So the most attractive man will be a man who has money and, right? And what women having economic power does is it equalizes that, because it gives us room to explore the idea of liking a guy who might not earn as much as me, but emotionally he's giving me the support that I need. Because we're still human beings at the end of the day. I could be making 500K a month, but I have all this childhood trauma that makes me Bob the Builder.
Sure.
So
Or
I'm
maybe you
gonna
want,
date a guy-
you want a Ben 10.
Or maybe I want a bente. Or maybe I just don't love myself enough, so I date a man who abuses me. And when I say don't love myself enough, I mean I haven't self-actualized to the point where I understand my true value, so I allow people to do things to me that they shouldn't be doing. Right? So I date an abusive man who financially abuses me. And so he might not be making the money I'm making, but he's driving my car. I'm giving him an allowance. People don't know he uses the card. So people assume she's with the wealthy man.
Sure.
Like there's so many dynamics
There's a lot
to
of
all
those.
of this. And
There's a
there's a
lot
lot of it. I know so many successful women where I'm like, why are you allowing this? But that's where they are emotionally, mindset wise. They may be successful in work, but in life they still have a lot of growing up to do.
Which is very true.
So that's why I'm saying it's very unfair to just say we're hypergamous, because that doesn't allow the human element where actually childhood,
I hear you. If I open a factory that makes gloves, I understand that there's people with 11 fingers and some with 9, but I will produce gloves with 10 fingers. So when you speak of studies are going to try and generalize as best as they can based on whatever focus group they have. The same with this study around here. Will there be women who earn X and then date guys who earn significantly less? 100%. But now we're speaking to the generalized experiences of most men that we know, that we can speak to. They will say the women that we've come across are women that date or are attracted to men within their bracket and above.
Can we say that for men? So if we look at
Men are not hypergamous. Men date down.
Exactly. So if men date down and women are hypergamous and women are making more money over time, so they choose who they want, and men
goes
date
back
down.
to Deb's point.
We're not attractive.
Sorry, relax. Can we please close on this topic?
Okay.
Thank you.
But then we stop being attractive to the guy who's earning more, because they like to date down. And
but you are down.
They inherently see a woman who's economically emancipated as a threat.
Not necessarily, because
guys, please, closing points.
Okay, no, but allow me to respond.
Going back and forth.
But allow me to respond.
So I'm asking you guys to please close off.
You said even if it takes 20 minutes. That's what you said.
No, that's your closing.
This is part of the closing. So again,
no, if it is, then we'll shut it down, because we've been going for a while.
That's why certain women at a certain bracket start dating the same 2% men. So let's use your example of a female who's earning $500,000. The guy who earns $1 million has 1 million options. the woman, because he dates down, whereas the woman who's dating up might only have 2 or 3, as an example, if she's dating up. So
By
as you guys,
hypergamy.
by being hypergamous.
Yeah.
So as women climb financially, their options become less and less.
No.
No,
Their options become more.
I need to be talking about being hypergamous, right?
Okay.
So in the realm of hypergamy, as women climb up economically, their options become less and less.
Is the status quo hypergamous?
Yes,
Because when you say it like that, you're assuming that the status quo is hypergamous.
yes.
That was the base of
That's the base of my argument.
I'm just saying for people who are listening, for them not to think that that is just the general reality. We're saying within the status quo of hypergamy.
Sure,
right?
that's what he was saying.
Where the theory is women date up.
But yes.
We can also acknowledge that there are other
Yes, and there are people with 9 fingers and 11
hypergamy.
fingers. And you are speaking to those sisters, and I'm saying, Wuti, again, we as Ulunga was saying, we speak about our lived experiences, and the general, from my lived experiences, that a lot of sisters are seeking for a guy, as much as she wants love and she wants all these other pillars, but she also wants a guy who, from an economic space, is either in her bracket or above. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, in
closing remarks,
so,
please, Lebo, and then Penson.
All right.
And then Penson. He can go first.
No problem. Thank you.
I went first last
Oh no, like
If
please.
you guys have nothing to close, we can shut it down.
Ladies first. Chivalry has not died.
I think.
By the way, thank you for being here, man. Like, it was just going to be like a boys' club, so I appreciate you coming through.
Imagine.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having
Look,
me.
Unompumelelo was meant to be here, but
Yeah.
circumstance and what, at least she's fine and she's safe. But
Okay.
I appreciate you coming through.
Cool. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I think conversations about gender are very tricky. And a lot of us will have the gender conversation from our own lens, which is what people do. That's what we do.
Yeah.
The things that are not the status quo are not as rare as they seem. They're just not as spoken about or having as enough information about them as other things. So we think that in 2024, 2020's status quo is still 2020's status quo, and it's not. And I'm urging men and women to rethink how they're seeing our roles moving forward, but also to understand that before we are men and women, we're people. And so we should actually be basing everything on working on ourselves first before we're trying to work on other people or connect with others. Because you find that life becomes a better experience when you tackle it from that perspective than when you are relying on things like gender or how much somebody's earning or class. Because once you open your mind up, those things kind of fade away a little bit. You know, I've seen a lot of powerful women who, because they understand their self-worth, are prouder to have a man who earns less but respects them. And that makes them enviable to a lot of women, because those other women with powerful husbands who are cheating, everyone's laughing at them. So just for me, I think we need to open up that conversation. Like, it's not one thing. It's not a one size fits all. Life is not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
There's so many experiences, and we need to open ourselves to the possibility and reality of all of them.
Thank you also for raising the need for nuance, which is also particularly in these type of topics why I would like more women to come through, because they may not agree with you, they may agree with you, they may, whatever the case may be. Similar, I think even with us gents in the room, we also have differing shades of views, even with certain things. But thank you, Lebo. Penson.
Yeah, no, namngiyabonga. I think going back to the conversation of seeking your mother or seeking your father, and also going back to the conversation about the type of therapist based on your journey, I think people should also date within a specific lane, their lane and what works for them. You know, I think a lot of times in today's dating market, we struggle because you're seeking something that you may not understand, and then you guys date for that 3 months, and then there's a lot of clashes. Then you start hearing words like compromise, Me and my relationship, I don't compromise. There's no compromise whatsoever. And it's so weird because my mother was asking my partner around, hey, when you compromise, you always compromise. And she's like, I don't compromise. And it's like, no, I sit in the passenger, he drives. I don't have to compromise. She in her mind, she wants to sit there. Yes. So you date a woman who wants to do 7 colors every Sunday. So that, yeah.
No, I wanted to add what I've always said, which is the ideal relationship is where both of you are selfish. But your selfishness
but it
aligns.
works. Yes.
Yeah.
So you date a woman who wants to have who wants to make 7 colors every Sunday.
Yeah.
So when people are going, how you cooking for this guy all the time? She's like, what? This is what I want to do. And what he wants to do is eat 7 colors. It just works like that. So it's so crazy when you tell people, Guti, for the longest time you see TV, you see media, you want to date this, if you are a feminist or whatever the case may be, find a guy that speaks to you, or a partner, not a guy that speaks to you, and date that, and if you are a traditionalist Zulu man, find a traditionalist Zulu woman who understands her role within that relationship. And I believe, Guti, it's going to be easier. Once you understand, Guti, this is my journey, what is it that I'm seeking, it becomes easier, because the moment usujola umlungu wenza lokhu and it clashes with who you are, that's where that friction builds. That's where you start asking, as Sis was saying, Stella or black sister, but be patient. But like, what day to see someone patient?
Exactly.
Because there's a little understand, and Usatan,
Damn, Caesar's face.
Because born again, they have some a calm spirit, what, and maybe some subconscious part is attracted to that unrowdiness or whatever. When data in your space, you realize most panic KFC boy, a good challenge usisi umthandayo mhlambe in your lane, ngeke ulibe ufila insecure, ngeke ulibe umbuzo ukuthi awubheka ugqoke kanjani, uzoba easier, in my opinion, for you to feel fulfilled, the same way that I pick a therapist in my lane, the same way that I'm picking a partner in my lane, the same way ngigqoke izinto engithandayo, ngenza engikuthanda, it becomes easier ngforced.
Shut it down, guys. If you have anything, topics that you'd like us to cover, please drop them in the comments. If there's anything that you really think is important to speak about, anything you want to criticize in the conversation, please drop it in the comments as well. We are still developing as a podcast platform, and we're going to try and pivot as best as we can with all the suggestions, and we're not going to do everything you guys want, but we are going to consider as much as possible. I think over time we'd also like to get sponsors for water, drinks, something nice for ladies. I don't know what ladies like, but money.
Money too, yes.
So, we'd like to thank Upu Tebza for sponsoring the women today on the platform with cash money. But we appreciate you guys. I'm going to leave you guys with the question that I wanted to ask Lebo, and I'm hoping when we sit again, this will maybe be one of the topics. If we're all going to agree, specifically as in Remnyama, the black nation in South Africa, at least in this context, that we were disrupted and our families were broken up by colonialists who took our fathers out of the home, sent them to mines and factories, etc. And then at some point the women felt left out, and then they were taken to farms and factories, etc. And then the kids were left alone, and they were shoved into schools to be trained to go and either be whatever your dad is doing or your mom is doing. And now our families are broken up. Should we be considering, for a period, a transitionary period, forcing black men and black women to stay with each other? What I mean by that is to almost kill any ambition, as if colonialists didn't arrive. Baba goes back to the house, Umama comes back home and waits for Ubaba to do his thing, the kids stay there. I think we've got examples in the Jewish community and the Muslim community where the man is the head of the house and the provider, and the woman nurtures. Because in that same topic is this question of, if you want what's best for your children, why would you want them to be raised and groomed by a low-wage earner versus yourself, who you feel are the best person equipped for what's best for this child? And that's going to be a question that I'm going to leave for you guys and for the next topic. Thank you very much for joining us on Dope Conversations. We're out.
Hectic. Hectic. That was a hectic question.
Yeah,